Chapter 427. At this moment, Lin Jun's prestige had reached its peak on Earth. He walked over and chatted with the people, especially Yin Xie, a hidden expert who had not appeared for hundreds of years. He was very strong to be able to cultivate to the stellar stage. If it were not for him today, the outcome of this battle might have been different. People gathered around Lin Jun, laughing and chatting nonstop. The entire Earth was a sea of joy. However, no one noticed that the Black Pearl had already quietly ascended into the sky. Several of the pirates piloting the ship had also left. Oh, this is a really great planet. I like it there. I will definitely go and take a look if I have the chance. I think the higher-ups of our planet should respond and contact Lord Lin Jun earlier. After all, he is also our lord. I don't know when the route to Earth will be opened. I want to travel. The comments from the other universes were also constantly flooding the screen. The situation on Earth had aroused their great interest. The citizens, or the poor on Earth, had also begun to interact with people from other planets. Now that Lin Jun had become a lord, he had the right to issue unlimited identities in his territory. The people of Earth believed that the day of their journey to the stars was coming. Speed up, go faster. Lin Jun's main body was in the Black Pearl, commanding the pirates to quickly fly into space. His goal was very clear: Mount Olympus on Mars, the highest peak in the solar system. These pirates also knew the severity of the matter. This time, the trap net was bought to capture the Constantine crystal spaceship. Once Lin Jun obtained the Lightspeed spaceship, they would have the opportunity to pilot it. For a pirate who had been wandering in space all year round, a Lightspeed spaceship was their ultimate dream. Therefore, Lin Jun did not need to mobilize them. Every pirate performed their duty and accelerated the Black Pearl to the fastest speed. They did not take any detours. Lin Jun was also silently calculating the time. It would take about 6 hours to reach Mars. Including the gaps between the wormholes, he should be able to reach the wormhole of the Demon Moon in Taurus in 7.5 hours. The Lightspeed spaceship would also arrive in 8 hours. When Anderson died, the Lightspeed spaceship would automatically return. He had to race against time. After 6 hours of flight, the Black Pearl entered Mount Olympus. Through the wormhole, they arrived at the Aurora Star. The surroundings of Mount Poison Mist were now Lin Jun's territory. Even Aurora's satellites were forbidden to investigate this place. Therefore, Lin Jun took off again without any hesitation, heading straight for Aurora's satellites. Half an hour later, he entered through the wormhole on the satellite and appeared on the satellite of the Emerald Star. Without stopping, he headed straight for the wormhole that led to the Taurus constellation on Emerald Star. After he passed through the wormhole, he saw an unfamiliar starry sky. Quick, lock onto the other wormhole on Fiend Moon Star and rush over. The Black Pearl traveled as fast as lightning. Finally, after 7 hours and 25 minutes, it arrived at the entrance of the wormhole. Calculate the location where the enemy's spaceship will appear and increase the distance to ensure the capture is successful. Lin Jun gave the order, and the pirates busied themselves nervously. After the calculations on the control panel, the results were out very quickly. Master, the calculations have been completed. The Eternal Crystal spaceship will appear 1 star miles ahead in 28 minutes. The best location to capture it is 10,000 kilometers ahead. Hurry over immediately and prepare there. The Black Pearl slowly advanced. After arriving at the capture location, the trap net was ready. Everyone was waiting nervously. Seconds and minutes passed. There was basically no error in the time calculated by the Black Pearl. A light spot appeared on the radar. It appeared. The Eternal Crystal spaceship has appeared. It's decelerating at sublight speed, 1,000 times the speed of sound, 500 times the speed of sound. I see it. It's there. It's already at 10 times the speed of sound, Master. Lin Jun stared at the spaceship that was slowly passing through space. Its entire body was made of extremely sturdy, eternal crystal. This spaceship was a huge fortune. Who knew how many years of hard work the Anderson family had gone through to obtain this spaceship? Now it was finally in front of him. Release. The automatic return system was a system after all. It did not have the intelligence of a human and did not have the alertness in the face of danger. When a spaceship passed below the Black Pearl, the trap net appeared. The huge alloy net firmly covered the spaceship. At this time, the spaceship had a warning and immediately accelerated to light speed to escape. However, it did not succeed this time. There was a huge Black Pearl behind it, and it failed to accelerate to light speed. Since it failed, there would be no more resistance. Lin Jun stood up from his chair, unable to hide the excitement in his heart. An eternal crystal spaceship at light speed. One spaceship was worth 10 billion Chilean dollars. This was Chilean dollars, the currency of a high-leveled civilization in the universe. 1 to 1,000 Chilean dollars was equivalent to 10 trillion Chilean dollars. How many Chilean dollars could 10 trillion Chilean dollars be exchanged for? How many Chilean dollars could it be exchanged for? Even with Lin Jun's brain power, he could not calculate this number. In short, the price of this spaceship might not be worth that much even if his territory was added together. Ronnie, bring a few people and follow me to our new spaceship to take a look. Ronnie was the only pirate leader who came out with Lin Jun. He was extremely excited and immediately called a few pirates to leave the Black Pearl. These people came to the door of the Eternal Crystal spaceship, but were stumped by the door. Master, this is bad. The door of this spaceship has a password lock. We can't open it at all. Lin Jun frowned slightly. There's no way to decipher it? Shouldn't you space pirates be locksmiths? It's too difficult. Although we have opened many locks, we have never robbed such a high-leveled spaceship. The password of this spaceship is 36 digits long. If we try to decipher it, we might only have a 1% chance of cracking it after 10,000 years. Then is there no way to go in? Can it be opened if we are inside? Of course, we can, but this spaceship is made of eternal crystal. It can't be opened by force unless we have the strength of a Starfield stage expert. Lin Jun was speechless. The Starfield stage was the second of the 3 levels of the Limitless Realm. Advancing from the Star stage to the Black Hole stage, and breaking through to the Black Hole stage was the Nebulous stage. In the entire Sky River Empire, only Emperor Longjuetian was a Nebulous stage master. In the entire Sanjiang Federation, only the chairman has the strength to break through to the Starfield stage. Is there no other way? Lin Jun was very unhappy. If he spent so much effort and finally got a spaceship that can't be operated, what's the use of it? Well, it's not that there is no other way. You could buy a simulated lock-picking system to open it. I know that the lock-picking system of Sublight spaceship costs 1 billion Chilean dollars. The price of a Sublight spaceship should be 10 times higher. 10 billion Chilean dollars? Lin Jun was silent for a while. He doesn't have this kind of money now, but he hopes to have it. Diana searched the city of ancient gods frantically for the World Stone, but she couldn't find it. If Lin Jun gets it, it will be a huge fortune. Let's go back first. We can't leave Earth for too long. We can't let others think that we came here to capture a Sublight spaceship. Lin Jun raised his hand and stored the Eternal Crystal spaceship in his Dark Star space. The Eternal Crystal spaceship is small among spaceships, but it's comparable to an aircraft carrier. Few space rings can fit it, but Lin Jun could. His already stabilized Dark Star space was an incomparably large storage ring. As long as he wanted to, he could even store a small planet. Seeing Lin Jun easily store away the Sublight spaceship, these pirates were a little dumbfounded. Their master is too powerful. Not only the spaceship, but Lin Jun also took away the trapping net, then returned to the Black Pearl with Ronnie and the others. Don't stop here. Return immediately. Asterisk, 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 asterisk in the Sanjiang Federation. The Anderson family. Kacha. The white jade teacup was smashed into powder, and an old man's face was pale. What did you say? We lost contact with the Eternal Crystal spaceship. Yes, Master. We received the exact news. Not only did the young Master die on Earth, but we also lost contact with the Eternal Crystal spaceship in front of the wormhole in the Demon Moon Star. It seems to have been captured by someone using a trapping net. Impossible. The route and time of our trip are confidential. Who could have intercepted the spaceship? Do space pirates have nothing better to do than block the entrance of a wormhole? Moreover, the Sky River Empire is a low-level universe country. There are too few people who have the ability to capture a sublight spaceship. Master, your analysis is very reasonable, but I just want to report a fact to you. We have completely lost contact with the sublight spaceship. It doesn't even seem to exist in the universe. We suspect that the spaceship has been stored in a space ring, and we can't find any trace of it. Old Anderson's eyebrows were trembling with anger, but he still tried to calm his emotions. As a supermaster in the late black hole stage, he can't have too much emotional fluctuation. It's very detrimental to his cultivation. The black hole stage is a huge watershed for martial artists. After crossing the black hole stage, one will have almost infinite lifespan. If one doesn't cross the black hole stage, even a star will eventually be destroyed. After a long time, his emotions stabilized. However, his voice was still low. Investigate. The eternal crystal spaceship must not be lost. It is the most precious treasure of our Anderson family. We can't afford to lose it. But Master, where should we start investigating? Investigate all the insiders. Find out who knew about this trip to Earth. This was definitely done by someone who knew about it. Okay, what about the people on Earth? The target of this mission is Lin Jun. The employer is already dead, so Lin Jun should be an insider. Is he also a suspect? He shouldn't be a suspect. The Demon Moonstar is too far away from Earth. Unless he also has a sublight spaceship, he has no time to commit the crime. Chapter 428. By the time the Black Pearl returned to Earth, an entire night had passed. No one noticed that a few pirates were missing. After a night of revelry, everyone seemed to have released all their repressed emotions. When Lin Jun returned, the entire world seemed to be quiet. Just as he was about to call some people to head to the city of Ancient God, Chris sent a message. Master, someone is looking for you in the dimensional universe. It's your friend, Han Sha. Lin Jun was stunned for a moment before entering the dimensional universe. He felt that Han Sha must be looking for him for something big. Han Sha and Jerry were both in the VIP room of the Shura field. When they saw Lin Jun arrive, they both stood up to welcome him. Ha ha! Welcome, welcome! Welcome, Sun Horde leader Lin Jun. Congratulations on protecting the integrity of your territory and driving away the enemies. Lin Jun smiled and greeted the two Red Star Shura. The three of them sat down. Jerry was the first to sigh. Lin Jun, your growth is too fast. We once fought against Anderson in the Shura field. I won by a hair's breadth, but that was under the premise that Anderson didn't shapeshift. You actually killed him in the real world when he shapeshifted. This is something I never expected. I was just lucky. No need to be humble. Everyone knows that there is no such thing as luck in the world of warriors. Jerry waved his hand. However, we didn't ask you to come here today to talk about this. We have something more important. Han Sha looked into Lin Jun's eyes and said, Lin Jun, have you heard of the Galactic Beast Alliance? Lin Jun didn't show any surprise. He just nodded. I've heard of it. That's good. Then you should know how big of an organization the Galactic Beast Alliance is. It's a huge organization that spans across 36,000 high-level universe countries. In the entire universe, no single country can compare to it. It's like the difference between a giant and a dwarf. The threshold for warriors to practice martial arts is very low. As long as you're not too bad, you can become a warrior. However, only true geniuses have a chance to enter our alliance. Lin Jun nodded. Could it be that the two of you want me to enter this alliance? Seeing that Lin Jun did not seem to attach much importance to him, Jerry hurriedly added, Yes, the two of us are responsible for inspecting all the geniuses in the Sanjian Federation and recruiting the best among them to join the Galactic Beast Alliance. Lin Jun, you are indeed a key candidate, but do you know how difficult it is to join us? And how great are the benefits? Can we get the gene fluid? Lin Jun asked. That's right. If you agree to join us, we will test your genes and decide what kind of gene fluid to give you. At that time, after your body is strengthened by genes, your combat power will definitely double or even increase by many times. Then what do I need to do? Lin Jun knew that there was no such thing as a free lunch. It was better to ask clearly. This is also very simple. After you become one of us, we will give you missions. Although there are risks, the rewards are also very generous. However, we can't tell you the content of the missions now. We need to wait for you to agree. Lin Jun thought for a while. The two of you also know that I have just become an overlord. There are still many things to do on my home planet. I don't know what my territory is like. I want to wait for these things to settle down before thinking about other things. Han Sha and Jerry looked at each other. We know that you have many things to do, but we hope that it won't take too long. 1 year. I will give you an answer in 1 year. Okay, we will come to find you when the time comes. The Black Pearl landed in front of the city of the ancient gods. The secret passage to the 4th level had been discovered. Lin Jun followed the secret passage and went directly to the captain's room. Walking out of the captain's room, there was a large desert outside. The pyramids that once stood in the desert had already collapsed and were dismantled into tatters. Yixian, the hero who had piloted the battle fort into Sky City, had not died. He had received Lin Jun's warning early on and had run out. Now he came to Lin Jun's side and introduced him to Lin Jun. Master, look at this desert. I brought people to delay the search, but we still dismantled all the pyramids. We searched every stone, but we couldn't find the world's stone. Did you turn over all the stones? I promise you all of them. There are no stones under the sand. Lin Jun stepped into the air and slowly walked to the sky above the 4th level of the city of the ancient gods. As far as the eye could see, there was yellow sand. There was no other color. He reached out his hand and used gravity to suck up a cloud of yellow sand. Then he let it drift in the air. There really were no stones. After testing a few times, the results were the same. Lin Jun was a bit worried. Is it possible that it's not on the 4th level, but on the other 3 levels? Lin Jun asked again. This seems unlikely. At the beginning, many pieces of evidence showed that the world stone was in this level of the desert, but Diana destroyed all the evidence to prevent others from discovering it. It's just that we haven't found the key yet. Well, let me think about it first. You continue to take people to search here. Lin Jun left the pirates behind and returned to the Black Pearl alone. He opened a map in front of the console. It's a map of the territory given to him by the Empire's Internal Affairs Department. Within 1 light year of the solar system, all the life planets and wormholes in his territory are marked. The range of 1 light year sounds very big, but in the vast starry sky, it doesn't seem very big. At least, there aren't many life planets. In the Sun territory, there are a total of 21 life planets. Among them, 11 have the same level of technological civilization as Earth. 3 are more advanced than Earth. 3 are between the technological level of Earth and the Sky River Empire. 2 are in the era of cold weapons. 2 are in the primitive stage. And 3 are in the early stages of the birth of life. I have to go and see these territories. After becoming the Lord, the taxes of these planets will belong to me. This is also a huge fortune. However, there's a problem here. Lin Jun needs to go there first to inspect, which requires a light-speed spacecraft. If you can't even reach your own territory, the emperors of those planets won't take the initiative to hand over the tax money to you. The video of me defeating Anderson has already been circulated on the internet, but none of these fellows in my territory congratulated me or pledged allegiance to me. It seems that they still don't believe that I can reach their territory. Lin Jun slowly paced back and forth in the Black Pearl. It's impossible for these people to think this way. The distance of 1 light year is basically impossible without a light-speed spacecraft. Especially in this part of the starry sky, there are no wormholes. Even if you want to come, you can't come. So why should we be afraid of you? For this kind of thing, the Empire has never interfered. They are even happy that the Lord can't manage his territory well, so the tax money will still belong to the Empire. Therefore, it's common for the Lord to have a territory, but no actual leadership power. Lin Jun logged in and browsed a warrior forum on the Indigo Bay Star through the dimensional universe. In his entire territory, Indigo Bay Star is the largest and most technologically advanced life planet. This planet is about 10 times the size of Earth, and tens of billions of people live there. Moreover, there are no mutant beasts here, and the cultivation civilization is very developed. Although there are no black hole stage masters, stellar stage masters are not rare on this planet. Linjun logged into the forum and found that the attitude of the people here is not friendly to him. In their opinion, only the people of Indigo Bay Star have the ability to manage this starry sky. What bullshit Earth! That kind of country people should never be their leader. Although Lin Jun has shown his strength, they did not think much of it after watching the video. They even talked nonsense on the internet, and it even became a trend of bragging in Indigo Bay Star. I heard that our Lord is only in his 20s. Is he qualified to lead us? He is only a level 9 satellite stage master. I will never accept it if he is to lead us planet stage masters. It's a pity that this Lord can't cross the starry sky to come here. Otherwise, Chao Yang of the Azure Dragon Holy Empire would definitely teach him a lesson. In the world of warriors, the strong are respected. The Empire's decision is too hasty. It seems that we should propose to the dimensional universe to change a powerful lord. The warriors of the White Tiger Holy Empire in the West are not convinced. We want to challenge him. A trash lord is not enough to convince the masses. When Lin Jun saw a video of a so-called Azure Dragon Holy Empire's prince tearing up his portrait and urinating on it, he logged out of the Indigo Bay Star forum. These bastards, I will go there sooner or later. Lin Jun even wanted to use the dimensional universe to teach these people of the Indigo Bay Star a lesson. However, it was meaningless. If he did not go there personally, there would be no deterrence, and no one would be afraid of him. World Stone, how can I find it? Lin Jun walked silently. He was distracted and bumped into a soft body. You air. Lin Jun, why are you so careless? You didn't even hear me when I called you. Su Mingwei gently stroked her chest, as if she was hurt by Lin Jun. Lin Jun hurriedly apologized. I was thinking too much. You air, it doesn't hurt. Let me rub it for you. Su Mingwei slapped Lin Jun's hand away and asked with a blushing face, No, what are you thinking about? It's about something called the World Stone. Lin Jun guessed that Su Mingwei should not have heard of the term World Stone, so he purposely explained. World Stone? As expected, Su Mingwei was confused. She tilted her head and thought for a while, World Stone, does it mean that one grain of sand, one world? One grain of sand, one world? Chapter 429. Hearing Su Mingwei's unintentional words, Lin Jun felt enlightened. That's right. Who said the World Stone could only be a piece of rock? Couldn't it be a grain of sand? If it was sand, then it would be the best disguise. Trying to find a grain of sand that stood out from the rest within a radius of a few hundred miles was indeed a very difficult task. However, Lin Jun had an idea. Because he had the Dark Star World. The World Stone was a real world. The Dark Star World was also a real world. This wasn't an alternate universe or a parallel universe. Between the two real worlds, there was no way for them to coexist. Lin Jun's feet moved back and forth as he walked in circles on the spot, muttering to himself, I got it. As long as I collect all the sand in the desert into the Dark Star World, there will definitely be a grain that I can't collect. That grain will be the World Stone. Su Mingwei's eyes followed Lin Jun as he walked in circles. Finally, she couldn't help but ask, Lin Jun, are you all right? Lin Jun looked at his beautiful girlfriend and hugged her. Thank you, Air. You really are my angel. What do I say? Why are you thanking me? Ugh. In the next moment, Su Mingwei's small mouth was covered by Lin Jun. His hot tongue reached over, causing her to lose all her strength. The hot kiss lasted for 10 minutes. Only when the beauty in his arms no longer had any strength to resist did Lin Jun let go. Do you still need me to rub it for you? It shouldn't hurt anymore, right? Su Mingwei powerlessly pushed Lin Jun's hand away. No, other people will see. Okay, next time we'll find a place where others can't see. Lin Jun smiled. After thinking for a while, he said, You air, let's get married. You, me, and Ning. Although I'm sorry, I really can't let go of any of you. I don't say sorry. Su Mingwei placed her finger on Lin Jun's lips. My only wish is to always be by your side, because I know that you are destined to be extraordinary. Compared to a couple in the mortal world, I can accompany you forever. What's there to be dissatisfied with? Lin Jun nodded. He decided that as soon as things settled down, he would immediately choose to get married. And Ning and Su Mingyue, two outstanding girls, were willing to marry him. It was time for him to give them a future. On the 4th level of the city of Ancient God, everyone had already evacuated. Lin Jun sat cross-legged in the air by himself. After adjusting his breathing, he felt that his condition had reached its peak. If we want to find the world stone, we have to absorb all the sand here. Let's start now. Lin Jun took a deep breath and opened his hand, sending out a gravitational force. The gravity of the primordial universe's dark star was extremely powerful. When Lin Jun raised his hand, it was as if a tornado had descended from the sky. Like a whale sucking in water, the yellow sand formed a sand pillar and rose into the sky. Wind. With a thought, a fierce wind appeared along with the gravitational force. Suddenly, the 4th level of the city of Ancient God was filled with smoke and dust. The yellow sand danced in the air. A sandstorm had appeared. A huge amount of sand was absorbed by the gravitational force and entered Lin Jun's dark star world. In order to absorb the yellow sand, Lin Jun even set aside a piece of land in the dark star world as the desert of the dark star world. Starting from a corner, Lin Jun began the long process of absorbing the sand. Under the dual effects of the wind and the gravitational force, the layer of sand gradually thinned. About a few minutes later, a piece of sand with a length and width of tens of meters was completely absorbed, revealing the metal floor of the Red Rose spaceship. Lin Jun looked around. The yellow sand stretched as far as the eye could see. This project still needed to be done. I have to increase the force. I can't stay here for too long. Lin Jun raised his hand and released the second gravitational force. 2 yellow sand pillars were entangled in the air, like 2 yellow dragons, rising into the sky. On Lin Jun's palm, a space crack appeared, and the yellow sand directly entered the dark star world. Using both hands at the same time, the speed was even faster. Lin Jun was like an aircraft, flying slowly in the desert. Wherever he passed, the yellow sand was quickly reduced. From early morning to dusk, from dusk to night, it was a new day. In just one day, after Lin Jun's hard work, 1/10 of the sand in the desert was absorbed. After taking a break, Lin Jun began the next day's work. If this continues, within 10 days, I will definitely be able to find a world stone hidden in the desert. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. The events on Earth only caused some excitement in the Sky River Empire, but after a few days, it gradually subsided. The leisure life of the people in the Empire is too rich. In the vast galaxy, there are countless major events happening every day. To put it bluntly, the events on Earth are nothing more than a coup d'etat in a barren land. It's not worthy of people's attention. As for the planets that belong to Lin Jun's territory, seeing that their lord didn't ask them for taxes through the dimensional universe, they were happy to be idle. A lord who can't even reach his territory is not worthy of respect. The only people who were still paying attention to Lin Jun were the Anderson family. Master, we have checked most of the people. None of them have anything to do with the disappearance of the Lightspeed spaceship. Are you sure you've checked all of them? We have checked all of them. In fact, this matter is very easy to investigate. The people who know about it are basically dead on Earth. When a young master went to Earth, the mission wasn't announced to the family. Even the family members didn't know where he went. If it weren't for his accident on Earth, we wouldn't have known where he went. What about Lin Jun? Have you checked this person? Old Anderson had a headache. We don't think Lin Jun is suspicious. The place where the spaceship went missing is too far from Earth. Plus, he hasn't left Earth, so we haven't. We can't let go of any clues. It doesn't matter if my son is dead, but the Lightspeed spaceship must not be lost. You can check Lin Jun's purchase records in the dimensional universe and see if he bought the trapping net. Also, see if his pirates were on Earth when the spaceship went missing. Yes, Master. We have been careless. We'll check now. After the servant left, Old Anderson slowly closed his eyes. Lin Jun, don't let me find out that it's you. Otherwise, I have 10,000 ways to make you disappear completely. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. There's still one last piece of desert left. I can finish it today. Looking at the last corner of the desert, Lin Jun was secretly excited. He didn't know if it was his bad luck or the world stone could hide automatically. He couldn't find it even after 9 days of continuous work. However, as long as it was on the 4th level, it wouldn't be able to escape today. He waved his hands, and the gravity appeared again. After 9 days of hard work, Lin Jun was very familiar with this process. The yellow sand disappeared bit by bit. The desert kept shrinking until dusk. The desert had shrunk to a radius of a few meters. There's only one last bit of sand left. I have to slow down. Lin Jun only used one hand to cast the gravity and sucked the yellow sand bit by bit. 1 square meter, 50 square centimeters, 30 square centimeters, 10 square centimeters, 1 square centimeter. At this moment, Lin Jun landed from the sky. He didn't cast the gravity again. Instead, he took out a metal box and kept the last 10 or so grains of sand. He gently pinched one and scanned it with his spiritual force. Then he kept the sand. This isn't it. There are 15 more. This isn't it either. There are 5 more. When he reached the second one, Lin Jun felt that one of the grains of sand wasn't easy to pinch. He directly used his spiritual force to pick up the other one and confirm that it wasn't it. At this moment, there was only one last grain of sand left in the desert. At first glance, this grain of sand didn't look any different from the other grains of sand. It was very ordinary. However, in Lin Jun's eyes, this was an unparalleled wealth. In the universe, wealth was often equal to power. There were too many things that could be done with it. His spiritual force slowly permeated and wrapped around the box along with the yellow sand. In the end, he was still a little worried and turned the light fiend into a protective shield. After confirming that there were no mistakes, Lin Jun reached out his hand again and prepared to pick up the grain of sand. Swoosh! This ordinary grain of sand wanted to break through space and leave. Where do you think you're going? Lin Jun's mind moved. Sky green spiritual force was released and firmly locked onto it. The metal box was immediately smashed apart. Lin Jun could feel the powerful force behind it. It was the power of a small world. The light fiend was also almost broken by this grain of sand. Just as the grain of sand was about to break free, Lin Jun's mind moved. Folded space. 2 spatial forces intersected. Lin Jun immediately entered a different space. At this moment, the rampaging world stone finally lost its momentum. No matter how strong it was, it couldn't break through the space barrier and return to the world of the city of ancient gods. Lin Jun took this opportunity to use his powerful spiritual force to completely expel the world stone's resistance. The so-called resistance was a layer of protection outside the world stone. It was a faint layer of light. It might have been left behind by the original owner. No matter how strong its original owner was, it was already dead. It couldn't be compared to Lin Jun. The sky green spiritual force was indeed indestructible. After 3 times, the layer of light completely disappeared. The world stone calmed down. Lin Jun held his breath. He slowly extended his hand and pinched the grain of sand. The folded space disappeared, and he returned to the city of ancient gods. His spiritual force slowly permeated in. Lin Jun had been looking forward to this world stone for a long time. He was even a little worried. If he spent so much effort, the world stone would be destroyed if it was just trash. As his spiritual force entered, a small mountain appeared in front of Lin Jun's eyes. It wasn't a real mountain. The green hua in front of him was all money. Money from all the high-level universe countries. It was all money. Lin Jun could feel that his eyes were glowing, and they were definitely glowing green. No matter how calm someone was, they would be moved by this scene. This was the most beautiful scene in the world. He was rich. Chapter 430. It wasn't that Lin Jun hadn't seen money before, but he had never seen so much money. This Leia Star's master, a galaxy stage warrior, probably had a hobby of collecting money. A small world stone was actually filled with money. Perhaps this world stone wasn't big, even smaller than some of the bigger space rings, but it definitely wasn't small. The length and width of the mountain of money were over 100 meters. And there were too many coins here that Lin Jun had never seen before. Lin Jun held his breath and slowly walked towards the mountain of money. The world stone was dim, and even if there was light, it came from some of the crystal coins in the mountain of money. Lin Jun raised his hand, and a light element gathered in his palm, turning into a bright ball of light that floated above the world stone. The place instantly lit up. Too much money. Lin Jun squatted down in front of the mountain of money, reached out, and picked up a stack of paper money. The denomination on the paper money was $10,000, and there was a picture of a rainbow phoenix on it. The rainbow phoenix was a super galaxy beast, and if Lin Jun guessed correctly, this should be the currency of a high-level civilization universe country, Fire Phoenix Empire. Rainbow Phoenix coins. This stack is $1 million, and if it's converted to 3 river dollars, it should be around $1 billion. I just don't know if the value of the Rainbow Phoenix coins or the Qilin coins is higher. Not all high-level universe countries' currencies were of equal value, and there were strong and weak differences between countries. Some universe countries' currencies were lower in value, while others were higher in value. For example, the Fire Qilin Empire's currency was in the middle tier among all the universe countries. Lin Jun picked up another metal coin. The denomination on it was $100,000. Not all universe countries use paper money. Some use metal coins, and some use paper and metal coins. Among these metal coins, crystal coins should be the most expensive. Let me see how much is here. Rummaging through the pile of paper money, most of the metal coins were at the bottom. Lin Jun felt around and found 2 crystal coins. There really is 1 million each. Lin Jun looked at the unknown picture on it, and his heart was filled with excitement. Holding the 2 crystal coins and standing up, Lin Jun did not know how to describe his feelings as he looked at the huge mountain of money. Lin Jun simply couldn't calculate the total value of these coins. The master of Leia Star was too rich, and he definitely had a hobby of money phones. Lin Jun had to thank him for this hobby. If he didn't have this hobby, he wouldn't have obtained such a huge fortune. After a long time, Lin Jun finally calmed down and began a complicated task. Sort out the currency. This work wasn't done by him alone. For this purpose, he specially ordered a batch of small robots from the Sky River Empire. This kind of small robot would start working tirelessly as long as one entered a command. It cost 100,000 Sky River dollars for one. Most of them were for household use. Lin Jun bought 1,000 of them at one go. As Lin Jun was a big customer, he bought over 100 million robots at once. The delivery this time was very fast, and the robots arrived at the city of ancient gods in a few hours. With the help of these robots, Lin Jun only had to let Crazy give them instructions to sort out the currency. 3 days later, for 3 whole days, Lin Jun didn't go anywhere. He just sorted out the currency in the city of ancient gods. During this time, no one was allowed to enter this place. No one knew what Lin Jun was doing. It's not that Lin Jun doesn't trust anyone, but this matter is of great importance. Once the news is leaked, it will definitely be a dangerous thing. Therefore, the fewer people who know, the better. Lin Jun completed this task alone. 3 days later, on the ground of the 4th floor of the city of ancient gods, piles of coins were sorted out. The coins had all been categorized and placed neatly like a wall. The unique fragrance was intoxicating. Huahua's green banknotes, golden coins, and shining crystal coins. Crazy! How big is the harvest this time? Master, because there are too many coins, this requires a very complicated calculation formula. Crazy can only give you a simple report. After 3 days of sorting, we found that the currency here is all high-level universe country currency. There are a total of 520 types, of which the Fire Qilin Empire's currency has a total of 63. 5 billion. Over 60 billion Qilin coins? Where is it? Quickly bring me to see it. Crazy led Lin Jun to a large pile of currency. Lin Jun finally saw the Qilin coins. It was like a pile of containers piled up high. The image of the Fire Qilin on it was incomparably mighty. That's great. Lin Jun excitedly hammered his palm. With these Qilin coins, he could do many things. Even though he had a lot of money before, he was still a little worried. With so many other universe country currencies together, even if he could take them out to exchange, it would definitely attract attention. Although the confidentiality of the Universe Bank is still very strong. If you take out a large amount of other universe countries' currency, it will inevitably be suspected. Maybe a staff member of the Universe Bank will leak it out. Although the possibility of this happening is very small, Lin Jun has to be careful. Qilin coins are much safer. Lin Jun can go to the Sanjiang Federation's Universe Bank to exchange them. Qilin coins are not rare there. Even in the universe, you can't go wherever you want. Lin Jun's identity as an Earl of the Empire, if he wants to go to other primary universe countries, he has to go through a review. Crazy, as an intelligent life, doesn't have that authority. Now that he has obtained the identity of the Red Star Azura, he can go to any location in the Sanjiang Federation's universe. Crazy's authority has been upgraded, and she no longer needs the review of the Sky River Empire. This is the benefit of identity. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so many people rushing to get a higher identity. Crazy continued. There are more than 500 kinds of currencies left, and the total value of each kind is not much different from the Qilin coins. The most is more than 200 billion, and the least is more than 10 billion. After our comprehensive calculation, if these currencies are all exchanged for Qilin coins, their value is about 30 trillion. Congratulations, Master. Now you are definitely the richest person in the Sanjiang Federation. The impact of this huge number on Lin Jun made him directly stunned. A string of zeros flew through Lin Jun's mind. 30 trillion, and it's the currency of a high-level universe country. How many Sanjiang coins would he need to exchange for? How many Tiana coins? How many Earths? Forget it. Earth shouldn't be included in it. Everything he had envisioned was about to become a reality. At this time, Crazy continued. Master, after my analysis, this Leia Star's master is probably not a Nebula stage warrior. Oh, what level of martial artist would that be? He should be a world king. Lin Jun froze for a moment. After passing the black hole stage, a warrior can reach the three extreme layers, which are respectively the Nebula stage, the Star Field stage, and the Astral stage. The origin of the World Stone is actually made by Astral stage warriors. Every Astral stage warrior can open up their own world. In fact, it's somewhat similar to Lin Jun's dark space, but Lin Jun obtained this space by chance, while Astral stage warriors forcibly open up their own worlds. The Emperor of the Fire Qilin Empire, Tian Haoyu, is an Astral stage warrior, and the only known Astral stage warrior in the entire universe country. Of course, a high-level universe country may have other Astral stage warriors, but they can't be emperors anymore. Crazy's analysis is very reasonable. Ordinary Nebula stage warriors, such as the Emperor of the Sky River Empire, Longju Tian, can't have 30 trillion astral coins. If the Master of Leia Star is a world king, then the secret of the World Stone is even more important for Lin Jun to protect. Except for these Qilin coins, I can't use any other money for the time being to avoid arousing suspicion. Even if it's Qilin coins, I can't exchange them all at once. It's enough for me to use in the Sanjiang Federation. Lin Jun thought for a moment, then said to Crazy, activate the self-destruct program of these robots. I don't want any possibility of this matter being leaked. Yes, Master, I'll do it immediately. Crazy immediately gave the command to the robots, and the robots immediately started smoking and self-destructing. Lin Jun still didn't feel at ease, so he burned all the robots, and no one would be able to find any clues. After doing all this, Lin Jun took out some Qilin coins from the World Stone. The universe's first bank branch of the Sanjiang Federation must also be divided into different levels of membership. I'll exchange 1 trillion astral coins at once, then I'll become a relatively high-level member. Taking out 1 billion Qilin coins and putting it into his space ring, Lin Jun entered the dimensional universe in the next moment. The capital of the Sanjiang Federation is called 100 River Star. It's a large planet, 10 times bigger than Emerald Star. Even a star like the Sun can only be regarded as a small planet compared to it. 3 Rivers refers to the place where the 3 galaxies converge. On this planet and its surrounding satellites, there are hundreds of wormholes. It can be said to be a unique transportation hub. The population of the entire planet is close to 1 trillion. Lin Jun didn't have time to enjoy the bustling scenery of 100 River Star, so he directly went to the universe first bank. The account amount here is 130 million astral coins. Lin Jun still has 400 million astral coins in his hand, but he didn't use them at all. Instead, he directly deposited 100 million Qilin coins. 100 million is a bronze member, 1 billion is a silver member, 10 billion is a gold member, 100 billion is a platinum member. And Lin Jun's 130 million astral coins were deposited, so he was a diamond member. Diamond members are also the highest level in the Sanjiang Federation Bank. When all the bank staff stood up and bowed to Lin Jun finally felt the immense charm of wealth. With this money, not only can I solve many urgent matters, I can even equip myself well. Chapter 431. Lin Jun has a lot of money in his hands. The first thing he wants to buy is a set of decoding systems for the Lightspeed spaceship. If he wants to go out and buy a lot of things, the Lightspeed spaceship must be usable. This set of equipment is worth tens of billions of Sanjiang dollars. But for the current Lin Jun, this amount of money is really nothing. He ordered a set of equipment. For this kind of large order, the delivery speed of the other party is very fast. While waiting, Lin Jun once again checked the life planets in his territory. The 11 planets similar to Earth were relatively peaceful, but the 3 planets with relatively high levels of technological civilization and cultivation civilization did not seem to have anyone in their eyes. Indigo Bay Planet, the 4 Holy Empires, Double Moon Planet, a war-torn planet, Blue Sea Planet, a completely unified planet. Lin Jun thought for a while. In the dimensional universe, he issued orders in the forums of these planets as the Lord. When the Lord gives an order, everyone on the planet will be notified and automatically receive it. Lin Jun's order is also very simple. I am the Sun Lord Lin Jun, and I order you to pay this year's planet taxes within 3 days. Then, Lin Jun's bank card number in the Sky River Empire. This time, the new card is from the Sanjiang Federation. The previous card has tens of billions of Sky River dollars. Of course, after getting the money, Lin Jun has also paid off the loans he owes. After issuing the Lord's order, Lin Jun began to wait for the news. He wants to see who can take the initiative to pay the taxes and who doesn't cooperate. 5 hours later, before the decoding system was delivered, a total of 8 planets have paid the taxes, all of which have a similar level of civilization to Earth. After all, Lin Jun showed his strength in the battle on Earth. If they want to disobey Lin Jun's order, they have to think twice. However, there's still 6 planets that haven't paid the taxes. In addition to Indigo Bay Planet, Double Moon Galaxy, and Blue Sea Planet, there are still 3 Earth-like planets that haven't been handed over. Lin Jun didn't issue a second order. Since these people think that it doesn't matter if they don't pay the taxes, then Lin Jun should let them understand the authority of the Lord. The taxes of 8 planets are really a lot. The Sky River dollars in Lin Jun's card has once again exceeded 100 billion. This amount of taxes is still not enough. The real tax collectors are the 3 first-class territories. The 3 planets, Indigo Bay, were designated as first-class territories by Lin Jun, and the other 11 planets as second-class territories. As for the 2 planets that are still in the era of cold weapons, there's no tax at all, and the people there don't even know the existence of the Sky River Empire. After the decoding system arrived, Lin Jun asked Ronnie and the others to come over and start decoding on the 4th level of the City of Ancient Gods. After a crisp sound, the password lock on the Eternium Crystal spaceship finally began to activate. Master, our Lightspeed spaceship can be used now. Let's go in and take a look. Lin Jun also walked in happily. The spaceship is nearly 400 meters long and 100 meters wide. Inside, there are shining crystals everywhere. It feels like they are in a crystal palace. The pirates excitedly touched the crystals. Lin Jun coughed and said, "Clean your hands and feet. If I find a piece missing, you will be in trouble." Ronnie smiled bitterly. "Boss, this is an eternal crystal. We can't even get in if the door is locked. It's impossible to break a piece off." "Well, let's test the performance now." The pirate sat in front of the console excitedly, studied it for a while, then started the eternal crystal spaceship. As soon as it started, Ronnie immediately turned it off. His face was a little pale. "Boss, we seem to have made a mistake." "What's wrong?" "The spaceship's system hasn't been recalibrated yet. When it was started just now, a radio wave was sent out. The Anderson family must have received the signal. They should know that the spaceship is still on Earth." Lin Jun had a headache when he heard this. This was indeed a mistake. However, at this point, there was no point in complaining. Moreover, after receiving such a large sum of money, Lin Jun also had some confidence. He pondered for a moment. "Let's reconfigure the system before restarting it. As for the Anderson family, even if this didn't happen, I'm afraid they'll find out about me sooner or later. But don't worry too much. They only have one light-speed spaceship. If they want to come to Earth again, it will be 2 or 3 years later." The pirates nodded and recalibrated the spaceship system. They erased all traces of the past. "Prepare to take off. Retract the light of the eternal crystal. Activate the speed of sound. Let's go." The spaceship started at the speed of sound and took off. The entrance to the top floor of the city of ancient gods was opened. The spaceship rushed out directly. After flying the air for a while, Ronnie turned to Lin Jun and said, "Boss, our planet is too small. We can't accelerate the spaceship to the speed of light. If we activate the speed of light, we can fly around the world 7.5 times in a second. Let's go. We will go to Mars first, and then go through the wormhole to the Sanjiang Federation." "Yes, Master." They could finally drive the spaceship into space. The pirates shouted and yelled. The spaceship almost instantly left the atmosphere and started to accelerate crazily. 10 times the speed of sound, 100 times the speed of sound, 1,000 times the speed of sound, sublight speed. Roar. It's so fast. Watch out, it's at the speed of light. The eternal crystal spaceship turned into a stream of light and instantly entered the parallel universe. It was pitch black all around. The spaceship automatically locked onto the spatial coordinates of Mars. This planet, which was originally more than 50 million kilometers away from Earth and required 6 to 7 hours of flight, only took 3 minutes to reach. When the spaceship decelerated, it automatically left the parallel universe. However, the people inside the spaceship didn't even feel the forward tilt caused by the deceleration. In front of them was Mount Olympus. The spaceship entered the wormhole and appeared on Aurora Planet. Then it went through the satellite wormhole to Emerald Planet. From Emerald Planet, there was a wormhole that led directly to Hundred River Planet. After exiting the wormhole, the Lightspeed spaceship finally had a chance to fly for a while. After 20 minutes of flight, they arrived near Hundred River Planet. "Everyone, enter the small airship. This spaceship can't be exposed." The pirates immediately followed Lin Jun and entered a small spaceship that could carry 100 people. Then, Lin Jun raised his hand and stored the eternal crystal spaceship into the Dark Star world. The small spaceship moved forward slowly and arrived at the airspace of Hundred River Planet. A life detection wave swept past it. When it detected Lin Jun's identity as the Red Star Azura, a voice greeted him from the control panel. "Honorable Red Star Azura, welcome to Hundred River Planet." The voice disappeared, and no one continued to investigate. "Boss, where are we going now?" It was Ronnie and the others' first time here, so they didn't know what to do. "To the Science Museum. My territory needs to be armed." "Lock on to Science Museum." The small spaceship entered the atmosphere of Hundred River Planet and flew around this planet that was 100 times larger than Earth. It took about an hour before they found the Science Museum. "Stay here and wait for me." Lin Jun left alone and entered the Science Museum. After entering, his identity was scanned. Seeing that he was a Red Star Azura, someone immediately welcomed him. "Honorable Red Star Azura, what do you need?" "Galactic Defense System." If there was anything Lin Jun was worried about, it would be that his home wasn't safe enough. He didn't care about other places, but he had to ensure absolute safety in the solar system. The Galactic Defense System came from a high-tier cosmic country. It mainly consisted of fortress satellites, interstellar railguns, interstellar radars, parallel universe monitors, laser missiles, and so on. The value of these things far exceeded the value of an entire asteroid system. Unless one was extremely wealthy, ordinary people wouldn't be able to afford them. At this moment, it was Lin Jun's original body. His realm was hidden by the dark star. With the strength of a level 9 star core and the power of the dark star, he looked like a Weizhou. One could buy a galactic defense system at the satellite stage. The receptionist immediately thought that Lin Jun came from a super family and didn't dare to neglect him. He led Lin Jun to the VIP room. How many planets are there in the galaxy you want to set up? 9 planets. Do you want interstellar railguns installed on every planet? Do you need fortress satellites? Every planet must be equipped with a railgun, a parallel universe monitor, and a galactic radar. These two must be of the highest specifications. Every planet must have laser missiles, and every planet must have a Bastion satellite. One of them requires 3 Bastion satellites and sublight speed war spaceships. Give me 10 of them. Hearing Lin Jun's list, the receptionist hurriedly recorded it down. At the same time, he was secretly speechless. This rich young master really didn't treat money as money. All right, I've finished recording. Each fortress satellite requires 10 billion 3 river dollars. Sublight speed spaceships require 12 billion. Parallel universe monitors require 50 billion. Interstellar radars require 30 billion, and orbital cannons. After a long list, the receptionist said, the total is 510 billion 3 river dollars. If you can pay in cash in one go, we can give you a discount of 10 billion. I'll pay in one go, but I want the goods delivered immediately. No problem. We have sufficient supplies. Now, please follow me. Lin Jun followed the receptionist and left. He boarded a small airship and flew out of the 100 River Planet's atmosphere, arriving at a space that was specially designated as a science and technology museum. In space, numerous fortress satellites that were almost the size of small moons were suspended. They were like monsters in space. Countless black cannon muzzles were daunting. Inside was a small city that could be lived in. There were also huge railguns that could move along the planet's orbit. They were like sentinels patrolling the planet. No spaceship dared to test the power of the railguns. There were also sublight speed battle spaceships. Within the galaxy, there were very few opportunities to move at light speed. Sublight speed was the norm in war. These 10 spaceships were prepared by Lin Jun for his subordinates. The parallel universe monitoring system could monitor everything in the parallel universe within 1,000,000 stars. Once a sublight speed spaceship approached, it would immediately discover it. The interstellar radars could cover the entire solar system. Spaceships that moved below light speed were all under surveillance. The laser missiles were defensive missiles, the protectors of the planet. Lin Jun paid 500 billion in one go, and then asked the receptionist to leave. He waved his hand and kept all these things in the dark star space. Chapter 432. Master, we found the whereabouts of the Lightspeed spaceship. Where is it? Old Anderson, who was focused on his cultivation, asked hurriedly. A minute ago, we received the radio waves of the Lightspeed spaceship. It was sent from Earth, but it was cut off very quickly. Earth is Lin Jun's home planet. Old Anderson took a deep breath. Looks like we've been fooled. Lin Jun must have found a wormhole and intercepted the Lightspeed spaceship. Then, he returned through the wormhole to create the illusion that he wasn't there. What a good plan. Master, even if that's the case, we don't have any Lightspeed spaceships now. It's not possible to get to Earth in a short time. We still have to go. We can't lose the Lightspeed spaceship. Although we don't have any Lightspeed spaceships, we still have a sublightspeed spaceship. Half a year is enough. But Master, you're in the critical period of your breakthrough. Breaking through the black hole realm is the most important thing for the family. Old Anderson's attitude was firm. Breaking through doesn't have to be confined to a certain place. Any place can be used for cultivation. Losing the Lightspeed spaceship has made me restless. Breaking through the black hole realm is too dangerous. Moreover, I have a feeling that my success in entering the nebula stage will depend on this trip to Earth. Go and prepare. Bring all the elites of the family. We'll set off today and try to reach Earth within half a year. the Anderson family began to move. Other than old Anderson, who was in the late black hole realm, there were 2 early black hole realm elites, 300 stellar stage elites, and 3,000 Xingzhou. The group took the sub-light-speed spaceship and set off from the Sanjiang Federation, heading straight for Earth. "Sir, all the slaves you requested are here." Lin Jun stood in the slave market. There were more than 1,000 slaves in front of him, 100 Hangzhou and 1,000 Xingzhou. These slaves cost Lin Jun more than 10 billion 3 Jiang dollars. After paying, the slave trader said to Lin Jun, "Sir, there are some elite slaves here. Would you like to take a look?" "What kind of elites?" "There are 3 slaves here. 2 of them are Blackwing Race's Level 9 Stellar Spirit Reader Masters. If you want them, you can have them for 10 billion. The slave trader brought over 2 slaves with black wings on their backs. Looking at the 2 tall slaves, Lin Jun could feel the surging power in their bodies. You got what you paid for. The price of these 2 stellar level 9 telekinesis masters exceeded the price of all the slaves Lin Jun had purchased. However, their strength was indeed not bad. However, 20 billion was a little too expensive. Lin Jun wanted a bargain. Although he was rich, Lin Jun didn't want to be a sucker. These 2 stellar level 9 telekinesis masters were worth 15 billion. As for the 3 slaves mentioned by the slave trader, one of them probably didn't have much strength. Before he could speak, the slave dealer said, "Sir, it's best if you don't bargain. One of the slaves is in the black hole stage and is worth more than these 2 level 9 stellar level beings. You've made a huge profit by getting him for 20 billion. If it weren't for the recent slump in the slave market, I wouldn't even want to sell him for 50 billion. Lin Jun was stunned for a moment. Only then did he notice that there was a young girl wrapped in wings in the corner. She was obviously from the same clan as the 2 stellar level 9 telekinesis masters. Her eyes were slightly closed, and her aura was restrained. However, upon closer inspection, she was actually in the black hole intermediate stage. When buying slaves, stellar level 9 telekinesis masters were the peak. Any higher, and they would be in the black hole stage. As for black hole stage slaves, very few people were willing to buy them. This was because there were 2 outcomes for black hole stage slaves. One was to fail the breakthrough and die, and the buyer would lose everything. The other was to successfully break through the black hole stage and enter the nebula stage. The slave chip would automatically unseal, and it was very likely to backfire on the owner. Unless there was an urgent need for combat strength, the black hole early stage could still be considered. However, if one was in the black hole intermediate stage, they could enter the advanced stage at any time. When breaking through the black hole stage, there would be opportunities. The breakthrough could happen within a few days or with an epiphany. Who knew when this young girl would advance to the nebulous stage? Hence, it was too risky to buy a black hole intermediate stage slave. Lin Jun glanced at the slave trader. This guy was obviously treating him as a sucker. What if I don't buy this young girl from the Blackwing clan? Will it be cheaper if I buy 2 stellar level 9 ones? The slave trader knew that things were not going well, but he still insisted. Sir, look at that young girl. She is as beautiful as a flower. She is the princess of the Blackwing clan and has the noblest bloodline of the Blackwing clan. It took us a lot of effort to capture her. In less than 2 months, she has advanced from a stellar level 9 to a black hole intermediate stage. If you buy her, she might advance to the nebulous stage. Lin Jun sneered. Do you take me for a fool? Can a nebulous stage be a slave? I will be lucky if she doesn't kill me. I'm just a small fry. I can't take a breath from her. What if you reform her and make her fall in love with you wholeheartedly? The slave trader still wanted to quibble. Enough. I don't want this black hole stage slave. I want 2 stellar level 9 ones. Name your price. Lin Jun did not want to waste any more time with him. Seeing Lin Jun's firm attitude, the slave trader suddenly cried, "Sir, if I could buy them separately, I would have sold them separately. These 2 stellar level 9 telekinesis masters are the girl's bodyguards. Even if they become slaves, they will protect the princess with their lives. If I separate them, they will die. I have no choice. who knew that the girl would advance to the black hole stage in the blink of an eye. If I don't act now and she advances to the nebulous stage, we'll be in big trouble. Then you want to throw the trouble to me, Lin Jun said with a cold face. This is really not considered trouble. After all, these three people are strong enough. If you treat the girl well, there shouldn't be too much of a problem. Lin Jun's gaze fell on the Blackwing clan girl. The girl's face was pale, but she was indeed beautiful. She was not inferior to his two girlfriends. Of course, Lin Jun was not attracted to her appearance. He was also attracted to her strength. A black hole stage slave, if used well, could solve a big problem. What's more, the two stellar level 9 telekinesis masters were obviously dead set on her. For these two people, Lin Jun was willing to take a risk. At worst, he would let her go or get rid of her on the eve of her breakthrough. Since he had his eyes on her, Lin Jun did not bargain anymore. The deal was settled. After the money was paid, the chip was handed over. Lin Jun became the master of the three slaves. He slowly walked to the three of them. What are your names? The two Blackwing clan telekinesis masters said, Z13, Z17. Are these your serial numbers? Yes, we're the princess's bodyguards. Only the two of us are left. Where are you from? What is your princess's name? The two of them looked at each other. Z13 said, the princess's name is Z Qinxia. We are from the Andromeda Nebula, Shunhua planet. Lin Jun nodded. The Andromeda Nebula does not belong to the Sky River Empire, but it belongs to the Sanjiang Federation. This Z Qinxia must have a high status there. To have a stellar level 9 telekinesis master as her bodyguard, she must not be simple. Now, come with me. You don't have to wait in the slave market anymore. After Lin Jun finished speaking, the girl named Z Qinxia suddenly opened her eyes. Kill me. Otherwise, when I break through to the nebula stage, I will kill you vampires. Looking at the hatred in the girl's eyes, Lin Jun glared fiercely at the slave trader. The slave trader looked innocent, but he couldn't help but snicker. Lin Jun was a little depressed, but after all, this girl was his slave, and he still had to rely on her. He could only say in a low voice, "You don't have to worry about anything. Although you are slaves, I am not a person who mistreats slaves. I can let you and your subordinates become my knights, and I will give you enough respect." Z Shursan and Z Shursan were originally standing beside Z Qinxia. After hearing Lin Jun's words, they were suddenly moved. Lin Jun was the first person to grant them the status of knights right from the start. If it was someone else, they wouldn't accept the three of them at all. After all, Z Qinxia is really a hot potato. Z Qinxia was also stunned for a moment. A trace of hesitation appeared in her eyes. However, she didn't waver because of Lin Jun's words. You were just trying to make me work for you. When I reach the black hole stage, you'll kill me, right? Originally, Lin Jun had this idea, but looking at the girl's eyes at the moment, he couldn't say such words. This is a pitiful girl. From a princess to a slave, her fate can be considered bumpy, yet he still wants to kill her after she has outlived her usefulness. Originally, this kind of thing was done by countless people in the interstellar. Lin Jun didn't feel anything, but facing the girl's eyes, he felt a little ashamed. Slowly walking in front of the girl, Lin Jun squatted down. Maybe I have such thoughts, but I apologize to you now. I won't think like this in the future. I can promise you now, as long as you don't harm me, when you reach the black hole stage, I will release you from your slave status and set you free. I will let you go back and take revenge. How about that? Z Qinxia's bright eyes flashed as if she wanted to see Lin Jun's heart. The two of them looked at each other. In the end, Z Qinxia nodded slightly. I can see that you are sincere. I can become your knight, but I won't become someone else's slave. You have to promise this. Other than you, no one in your family has the right to order me around. Of course, Lin Jun knew that he should respect the strong. If it wasn't for the slave status, Z Qinxia probably wouldn't even look at him. Then, it's a deal. It's a deal. Z Qinxia's long hair suddenly flew up and hooked Lin Jun's hair in the air. She then pulled and released it. What does this mean? Lin Jun was stunned. At this time, Z Shursin smiled. On Shunhua planet, This is the meaning of a promise. A promise is a promise. No one can go back on their words. Chapter 433. Lin Jun treated Zi Qinxia and the other two very well. Not only did he give Zi 13 and Zi 17,000 cavalry captain positions, but he also made Zi Qinxia his personal bodyguard. Of course, Zi Qinxia was only in charge of Lin Jun's safety. He did not care about anything else. The black-winged race had spatial talents, just like Lin Jun's folded space. They could enter space at any time to hide, coming and going without a trace. When Lin Jun brought Zi Qinxia, and all the slaves back to the light-speed ship, Ronnie and the others were stunned, especially when Zi Qinxia looked at them and said, "Despicable pirates." These pirates did not even dare to breathe loudly. Ronnie could not help but think to himself, Lin Jun really dared to play with fire. He actually bought black hole slaves. Once this woman broke through, all of them added together would not be enough to kill her. Could it be that Boss saw that this woman was beautiful and wanted to satisfy his cravings first? After buying the slaves, Lin Jun stayed in the Sanjiang Federation for 2 more days to buy large amounts of resources. First was the chips. Now that he was a lord, he could send out unlimited chips. However, he also needed to send out chips himself. He bought tens of billions of chips in one go. Other than the chips, there was also the large passenger spaceship. Lin Jun wanted to open up transportation within his own territory. At the very least, he had to be responsible for the spaceships on Earth. There was also the jade marrow used for cultivation. It was not too expensive, only 5,300 Jiang dollars per gram. It could give a normal person a chance to become a martial artist. It was similar to the vitality medicine on Earth. Of course, if it was calculated in Earth's currency, 1 gram of jade marrow would be worth 5 billion. The price was not cheap. However, the effects were also very good. A normal person would only need 1 gram, and even 3 grams would be enough. Lin Jun wanted to bring it back to let more people become martial artists. It would be best if everyone could practice martial arts. There were also energy blocks. With so many spaceships, one could never have too many of these things. Lin Jun bought 50 billion 3 Jiang dollars worth of energy blocks in one go. Large amounts of money were spent. Lin Jun even had to deposit another one, 5 billion Qilin coins, in order to support himself. After another 3 days, Lin Jun brought everyone home. After 2 hours, they arrived on Earth. Lin Jun started to set up all the planet's defense systems. Each of the 9 planets in the solar system was equipped with a fortress satellite. These satellites were like small planets that slowly orbited outside. The entire planet was filled with cannons. They were definitely the strongest fortresses. Lin Jun's hometown, Earth, had 3 fortress satellites. The star stage experts pushed the satellites to push them into orbit slowly. Then, the railguns and lasers were all installed. The interstellar radar and the parallel universe surveillance device were set up on Earth in Bingxing Bay City, his hometown. These things didn't need anyone to guard them. They only needed to be connected to artificial intelligence life forms. Once there was a situation, they could alert him at any time. Earth's, SSSS. When Lin Jun returned to his hometown, his parents and relatives had also returned to Ice City. Lin Jun's home was now an independent city that was connected to Ice City. This city was Lin Jun's spoil of war, the Sky City. This was also Lin Jun's suggestion. Letting the Sky City be located here would allow him to gather all the important people he valued. This was because the Sky City itself was a powerful war fortress that could protect his family to the greatest extent. The Sky City was extremely huge. When Lin Jun returned, it was when many people were moving here. The upper echelons of all the countries in the world had merged and formed a unified office to deal with all the matters on Earth. Of course, this office was directly responsible to Lin Jun. During Lin Jun's absence, his doppelganger stayed here to deal with this matter. Lin Jun returned and walked on the streets of the Sky City. It was a busy scene everywhere. Lin Jun wore his metal mask to avoid too much trouble, while Zi Qinxia retracted her wings and transformed into a delicate and beautiful girl, following behind Lin Jun step by step. Your spaceship city is passable. If it's really dangerous, you can immediately choose to fly and escape. It's just that it's a little slow. In fact, the Sky City speed was not considered slow. Its maximum speed could reach 100 times the speed of sound. Of course, in the future, it would undoubtedly be slow. Lin Jun had already ordered a new power system in the dimensional universe and was preparing to modify the Sky City into a sublight spaceship. How is it compared to your hometown? My hometown is much more beautiful than here, and there aren't as many mutated beasts as your planet. It's not safe to go out. Lin Jun nodded. Earth was indeed not beautiful now, mainly because the mutated beasts everywhere had not been cleared. Now that Lin Jun had brought back so many experts, it was definitely not difficult for those experts at the stellar stage and planet stage to clear out the mutated beasts on Earth. However, Lin Jun did not plan to do so. There should be some use for these mutated beasts. They went all the way to the center of the Sky City. This was the Lord's Mansion. After arriving here, Lin Jun's main body and doppelganger quietly changed positions. Now, what Lin Jun lacked was the realm. His main body had to seize all the time to cultivate. His doppelganger continued to issue various orders with Ziqinxia. First, Lin Jun officially announced to the world that he would begin to distribute the chips to the people. The identity verification of the people had been in progress. As long as there was no history of breaking the law, all the people on Earth who had a good performance would be given citizenship. As for those who had resisted Lin Jun before and had a bad record, they would be given pauper status. As for those who had committed heinous crimes, Lin Jun would not be lenient. They were all handed over to the current office for trial. Those who should be killed will be killed. The code of the Sky River Empire is relatively complete, and the laws are sound. Although the workload of this matter is large, it is not difficult to handle. This time, after the identity chips came back, Lin Jun also granted some people the title of knight. These people can replace Lin Jun in issuing the chips. Of course, the people who can be granted the title of knight are those that Lin Jun is familiar with and trustworthy. After getting the chip, people can enter the dimensional universe. They were immediately attracted by the huge charm of the dimensional universe. Many people can't even see the scenery of a planet in their lifetime. In the dimensional universe, they feel the meaning of life even more. Everyone wants to become a warrior and have a longer life. Therefore, Lin Jun once again distributed the chalcedony. As long as someone reaches the threshold of becoming a warrior, they will immediately be given a chalcedony to help them cultivate. A gram of chalcedony is enough to make an ordinary person easily become a third-level warrior. The continuous measures made the people on Earth cheered and excited, and they're also very supportive of Lin Jun. Being able to cultivate, have a longer life, and enjoy a new world, people suddenly felt that the future was full of hope. During this process, some people proposed that the Lord should clean up the mutant beasts on the planet, but Lin Jun refused. These mutant beasts are the best sparring partners for the people on Earth. They can help them grow quickly. Otherwise, if they train in a greenhouse forever, their talents will be buried. Of course, Lin Jun didn't do nothing. For example, in the warrior level training area, Lin Jun will send people to clean up or move the high-level and mid-level mutant beasts inside, so as to prevent the appearance of monsters that exceed the strength of a warrior and bring about heavy casualties. Of course, there are definitely some people who will be injured or even die, but compared to before, it will be much less. Everyone's artificial intelligence will help them analyze where to fight and cultivate and where to avoid danger. The people on Earth also gave Lin Jun a lot of support. After so many years, the people on Earth are not very afraid of mutant beasts, and they know what to do. For a time, the whole planet is set off a cultivation craze. 3 months slowly passed, and everything gradually stabilized. The system's defense system has been installed, and the entire solar system is impregnable. If a fleet like Diana's still dared to come, Lin Jun guarantees that they will be wiped out before they can even get close to Earth. The people's cultivation has also been effective. Now, 90% of the people on the planet have become warriors, and going out to hunt mutant beasts has become their main theme. Under such a favorable cultivation environment, the number of high-level warriors has gradually increased. In these 3 months, hundreds of thousands of people have become generals. Nearly 50,000 people have become war gods, and several Star Realm Masters have also been born. Therefore, someone suggested opening an interstellar route. Earth needs development and trade, so they will go out. Lin Jun is also very concerned about this matter and began to contact the other life planets in the territory. When the last tax was paid, 8 life planets had paid, but this time, Lin Jun raised the issue of communication between planets, and none of the planets responded to Lin Jun. In their opinion, this lord definitely doesn't have the ability to go to other planets. A lord who can't even come here doesn't need to care at all. The warriors of several planets even constantly ridiculed Lin Jun, saying that he is a snail lord. Many people even posted posts on the planet's forum, challenging Lin Jun in the Azura arena. Among them, Indigo Bay Planet, Double Moon Planet, and Blue Sea Planet have the most people. Lin Jun did receive some challenges during this period, and the challengers were very strong. The weakest was a Gold Star Azura, and most of them were Red Star Azuras. There is even a legend that Indigo Bay Planet's Azura King wanted to challenge Lin Jun. However, he didn't accept any challenge, which also made the people of other life planets in the territory more and more arrogant. It's not that Lin Jun wants to let these people be arrogant, but he has reached a critical moment in his cultivation. He has cultivated to the point of entering the meteor stage, and with one more step, he can cross a big realm. Chapter 434. Lin Jun was now at the peak of Star Core Level 9 and was about to enter the meteor stage. In his previous life, he had failed to break through to the meteor stage and died from exhaustion. Therefore, Lin Jun still had a hurdle in his heart regarding this shock. On the crater on Mars, 3 months of hard work had brought him to the edge of a breakthrough. Lin Jun scanned the area with his azure mind power. Nothing within tens of thousands of meters could escape his eyes. The Eternity Crystal spaceship was parked nearby, so Zi Qianxia should be nearby too. The Blackwing race was born with spatial talent, so she was very good at hiding. With this great expert who was about to reach the late black hole stage, Lin Jun's safety was not a problem. He calmed himself down and began to prepare for the breakthrough. He had been preparing for this process for a long time. There would be no problems. The star core in his body began to move. It slowly moved in his energy center, and the star power boiled. 1 cycle, 2 cycles. After dozens of cycles, the star core gradually formed an orbit. A bright light began to appear slowly, forming behind the star core. During this process, the star core gradually became bigger and stronger. It had already entered the path of the meteor stage. As long as Lin Jun went through this process smoothly, he would enter the meteor stage. However, at the critical moment of the breakthrough, Zi Qianxia suddenly exclaimed, "Lin Jun, this is bad. A group of meteorites was attracted by the gravity of Mars and are coming." Lin Jun did not answer, but he was a little nervous. The reason he chose Mars to cultivate was because it was safe and far away from Earth. He did not expect to encounter a group of meteorites. Based on Zi Qianxia's tone, there should be a lot of meteorites. However, his main body was at the critical moment of the breakthrough. If he left rashly, the breakthrough would be in vain. He might not be able to break through again for decades. Lin Jun could not take this risk. Although his main body did not move, his clone had already issued an order through the dimensional universe. Lin Jun had set up fortress satellites and orbital cannons on each of the 9 planets in the solar system. Now was the time to put them to use. Qianxia, prepare to intercept them. I will let the fortress satellites and orbital cannons fire and intercept these meteorites. Understood. Don't worry, I will definitely protect you. Zi Qianxiao appeared in the sky. A pair of black wings appeared on his body, and he held a resplendent sword in his hand. He was prepared to block any meteor that approached Lin Jun. The Citadel satellite and the orbital cannon that were orbiting Mars were also nearby. Lin Jun had taken precautions in advance, and now they had come in handy. In the void, the fortress-like satellites that looked like small planets moved at high speed. Countless black cannons turned and aimed at the approaching meteors. About 5 minutes later, a large group of dark meteorites entered the gravitational range of Mars. The Fortress satellite will intercept them. Don't let the large meteorites enter the atmosphere. Lin Zhen's doppelganger gave the order, and the Fortress satellite fired. Boom! Boom! Those incomparably huge cannons opened fire and immediately set off a sky full of flames and the meteorites. Meteorite groups were not small in the universe. The largest meteorite group had a diameter of over 1,000 kilometers. There were tens of thousands of dark meteorites. At this time, the Fortress satellite's cannons showed their power, blasting the large meteorites into pieces. However, even so, it was impossible to destroy all of these meteorites. The large meteorites turned into small pieces, and the small pieces continued to fall. A large meteorite could be disintegrated into hundreds of small pieces. It was impossible to completely destroy it. Orbital cannon, fire. Lin Zhen gave the order, and the orbital cannon that had already moved beyond the atmosphere opened fire. Rapid and violent flames were launched, and pieces of meteorites were turned into fragments. Small fragments of meteorites that entered the atmosphere would not pose any threat to the ground and would burn up in the atmosphere. After the Fortress satellite and the orbital cannon's bombardment, the threat of this group of meteorites had decreased a lot. If Lin Zhen did not want to break through, these threats would not be a threat at all. The problem was that he could not move. There was still a large group of meteorites that entered the Martian atmosphere, turned into burning fireballs, and rushed in Lin Zhen's direction. Qianxia, I'm counting on you. I'll try my best. There are a lot of meteorites. Qianxia held a long sword. She rose into the sky. Her black wings flapped behind her, and her slender figure turned into a stream of light, directly facing a huge meteorite with a diameter of 1 kilometer. "Huh!" a sweet voice shouted, and a dazzling stream of light shot out, smashing the huge meteorite into pieces. Qianxia was also forced back a few kilometers by the force of this celestial body. She immediately flapped her wings and continued to attack the next meteorite. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Streams of sword energy crisscrossed the sky, and the larger meteorites were shattered by Qianxia. As long as the meteorites were not that big, they would not reach the ground. However, Qianxia was also in a very difficult situation. Fighting against the meteorites that fell from the sky with human strength was not a job for humans. Even if she shattered the meteorites, the fragments of the meteorites were impossible to defend against. In order to protect Lin Zhen, she had to fight against these meteorites. It was very difficult for her to block them. After all, the huge meteorites with a diameter of more than 1 kilometer or even a few kilometers were still burning. It was already very impressive that she could withstand them. Lin Zhen's main body still had his eyes closed. He had reached the most critical moment of his breakthrough. However, at this time, his attention was attracted by the meteorites in the sky. The impact of these meteorites is very strong. Qianxia has reached the late stage of the black hole realm, but she is still pushed back by the meteorites. And the fragments of the meteorites are also annoying her. It feels like she is fighting with someone, and those meteorites are attacks from her opponent. A powerful attack, and the fragments are scattered energy. If I imagine this attack as a spear technique, that's it. Lin Zhen imagined Qianxia's opponent in his mind. The opponent was a spear master, and with the spear technique that fell like meteorites, Qianxia was in a very difficult situation. Lin Zhen released his sky blue spirit power, and his telekinesis reached the sky. He was capturing everything about the meteorites. Spear technique. My spear technique is currently at the 6th tier, ocean treading. This tier can't keep up with the situation, but I don't have the secret manual for the 7th tier. I need a powerful spear technique. Lin Zhen's desire to become stronger made him forget about the danger, even if he was on the verge of a breakthrough. Qianxia was having a hard time blocking the meteorites. These meteorites came in waves. Especially since she had to protect Lin Zhen, she could not dodge at will. Lin Zhen, hurry up. I can't hold on anymore. Lin Zhen had completely forgotten about everything. Meteors fell one after another like spear techniques. Meteor fall. Advance courageously, swift, quick. If I turn it into a spear technique, I have to remember the trajectory of each meteorite. The more, the better. The more complicated, the better. Wave after wave of meteorites fell. Zi Qianxia was forced to retreat to a place 1,000 meters above Lin Jun. Are you done? Lin Jun still did not make a sound. He was about to succeed. The light sword in Zi Qianxia's hand was already a little dim. Even she, who was in the black hole stage, could not withstand such a large wave of meteorites with her strength alone. Looking back at Lin Jun, who was still motionless on the ground, Zi Qianxia could not help but grit her teeth. During this period, Lin Jun had been very good to her. He almost did not let her do anything, and there was no arrogance in his words. It was as if the two of them were good friends. She was very happy to be able to meet a master like Lin Jun. This also made her look forward to the future. After she broke through, she might really be able to regain her freedom and return to her hometown to take revenge. In the past few days, she was about to break through. As long as she was willing, she could enter the late stage of the black hole stage at any time. However, she was still hesitating. She did not know if she should break through immediately. If she returned to her hometown now, she would not be able to take revenge. However, she did not expect to encounter such a situation. It was too late for her to break through. What a sin! Lin Jun must not die. If he dies, I will die too. However, if I insist on protecting him, I will definitely be injured. I am afraid that I will not have any hope of breaking through the black hole stage. However, Zi Qianxia had no other choice. This was because while she was blocking, a huge meteorite with a diameter of 100 meters had already smashed towards Lin Jun. Not good. Zi Qianxia did not hesitate at all. She suddenly used teleportation and blocked in front of Lin Jun. At this distance, even if she broke the meteorite, she would be injured by the flying debris. However, she could not dodge. It's over. Lin Jun, you owe me a life. Zi Qianxia closed her eyes. She was prepared to break the meteorite at the cost of being injured. Her black wings had already spread out and enveloped Lin Jun. Just as Lin Jun suddenly moved, with a teleportation, Lin Jun was already in front of her. The yin-yang spear in his hand drew out a black and white light and directly attacked the meteorite. Lin Jun, you are crazy. The situation was urgent. She did not have time to stop Lin Jun. She saw Lin Jun's spear tremble and directly pierce the meteorite. At this moment, Zi Qianxia seemed to be hallucinating. In her opinion, it was two meteorites colliding together. Rumble. Lin Jun actually broke the meteorite. Zi Qianxia did not expect Lin Jun to be so strong. However, she still shouted, "Hurry up and dodge. You will be injured by the debris." Lin Jun still didn't dodge. She shook her spear, and countless earth elemental stones turned into huge rocks. Wrapped in blazing flames, they clashed fiercely with the meteor fragments. The number of meteorite debris was equal to the number of elemental fireballs. It was as if fireworks were blooming in front of her. Zi Qianxia looked at Lin Jun's heroic figure and could not help but open her mouth wide. Chapter 435. String after string of fireballs exploded in the air. It looked like Lin Jun could be swallowed at any time, but none of the fireballs could touch Lin Jun. Pa! 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 Concentrated spear lights flashed. Lin Jun grabbed Zi Qianxia and quickly flew out of this area to the Eternal Crystal Spaceship. You succeeded. What kind of spear technique was that? Facing Zi Qianxia's question, Lin Jun smiled and did not say anything. He had indeed succeeded. When the last meteor fell, the meteor in his energy center finally formed its own orbit and entered the meteor stage. After entering the meteor stage from the peak of Core Star, Lin Jun's astral power doubled again. His strength had greatly improved. At the last moment, Lin Jun also comprehended a new spear technique. Meteor, a swift spear with endless changes. The speed of the spear could reach up to 1,000 times per second. This was Lin Jun's current trump card. It was the strongest weapon in a regular battle. When used together, it was invincible and had endless power. Qianxia, I have to thank you just now. If you didn't desperately block the meteor, I'm afraid I would have been injured even if I didn't die. I won't be able to break through in a short time. Zi Qianxia felt the warmth in her palm and realized that Lin Jun was holding her hand. She blushed slightly and pulled her hand back. This is what I should do. I'm your slave. How can I not protect you? Don't talk about being a slave anymore. I feel that you're about to break through. Are you worried? Are you worried that I won't give you freedom? Don't worry. I'll give you freedom now. If you want to leave, I won't stop you. Lin Jun immediately removed Zi Qianxia's slave chip and gave her a knight chip, making Zi Qianxia a noble. I know that this identity doesn't suit you. If you can get a better identity in the future, you can change it. Zi Qianxia stared blankly at Lin Jun's actions. She lowered her head and did not say anything. Go and break through. You can leave if you want. After speaking, Lin Jun turned around and did not say anything else to Zi Qianxia. After a while, a fragrant wind flashed, and Zi Qianxia disappeared. She must have gone to find a place to break through. Lin Jun sighed slightly. This deal was worth it. Zi Qianxia could help him break through to the meteor stage. This was a priceless treasure. As for where Zi Qianxia would go in the future, Lin Jun respected her choice. He stayed on Mars for another 3 days to stabilize his meteor stage. On the 3rd day, Zi Qianxia returned. Not only had she advanced to the advanced black hole stage, but she was also facing a breakthrough and was not far from the nebulous stage. Lin Jun was amazed by such a rapid cultivation speed. After she returned, she went to Lins of star and said a sentence. Before I have the ability to return to my hometown to take revenge, I will stay by your side. Lin Jun smiled in relief. Indeed, he had not misjudged him. It was time to return to Earth. Since the main body had advanced, the doppelganger naturally advanced to the Xingzhou level. Lin Jun had to respond to the provocation in the territory. This planet was 10 times larger than Earth. The 4 holy empires ruled it. Recently, the warrior forum here had been very lively. There was a way for warriors to prove their strength. That was to challenge the Lord. In the eyes of the people of the Indigo Bay Star, their technological civilization and cultivation civilization were far superior to that of Earth. Even if there was a Lord, it should have been born on their planet. What qualifications did Lin Jun, an Earthling with a low realm, have to lead them? The warriors on the planet were enraged. They all challenged Lin Jun in the dimensional universe. Starting from the first person, Chao Yang from the Azure Dragon Saint Empire, Lin Jun didn't pay any attention to him. Then came the 2nd, the 3rd, the 100th, and the 1000th. Lin Jun ignored them. This undoubtedly encouraged the arrogance of the people of Indigo Bay. There was a lot of ridicule on the internet, criticizing the Lord's incompetence. There were even warriors who would show a screenshot to a girl. Look, even the Lord doesn't dare to accept my challenge. Don't tell me that a man like me isn't the most secure man. 3 months had passed, and the popularity of this matter had just died down a little. Who would have thought that Lin Jun, a cheap lord, would want to tax Indigo Bay? Like a stone stirring up 1,000 ripples, the Indigo Bay Star's martial artists exploded. Lin Jun, this ignorant brat, is too arrogant. What right does he have to collect taxes from us? It's ridiculous. A person who can't even come to the territory wants to collect taxes? Don't make people laugh their heads off. Stop talking nonsense. Lin Jun, if you want to collect taxes from us, you'll have to ask my sword for permission first. Save it. Lin Jun, that coward, doesn't have the guts. If he dared to accept the challenge, he would have done so long ago. If we don't pay him taxes, he will sue the Empire. Huh. Then let's accompany him in the lawsuit. If you have the ability, come and get it yourself. Trash. The warriors of the Indigo Bay Star were very arrogant. In their opinion, Lin Jun would never dare to accept their challenge because there were other warriors who were not as strong as the Indigo Bay Star. Lin Jun did not accept their challenge. He was an incompetent lord. Therefore, in order to prove their courage, regardless of their strength, they all sent a letter of challenge to Lin Jun in the Azura Arena. 3 days later, Lin Jun still hasn't responded. The people of Indigo Bay were already contemptuous of Lin Jun at this time. Some people were even ready to talk to the Emperor of the Sky River Empire, Long Ju Tian, to replace Lin Jun as an incompetent lord. However, no one expected that today, Lin Jun would suddenly accept the challenge. A lord's letter appeared on the forum of Indigo Bay. Citizens of Indigo Bay, I am your lord, Lin Jun. Recently, I've been too busy dealing with trivial matters in the territory, so I haven't responded to you. In view of your disrespect to me, I have made the following decisions. First, from today onwards, the taxes of Indigo Bay will be doubled and paid immediately. Every day late will be increased by 10%. Second, the 4 holy empires of Indigo Bay will be under the management of my Earth office. Starting today, the transfer of power will be made immediately. Third, I will send people to supervise Indigo Bay. Please receive them well. During this time, too many people have provoked me in the Azura arena. Today, I will take some time to play with you. Then, Lin Jun made an amazing move. He accepted the challenge of Indigo Bay's warriors. At that time, Lin Jun didn't accept the challenge, but he also didn't refuse it. The information of the designated challenges was still there. Lin Jun looked at the list. There were more than 8,000 challengers on Indigo Bay. He immediately gave an order to Chris. Accept all of them and use your system to analyze their strength from low to high. Don't leave out any of them. Chris immediately got to work and was done in a few seconds. Master, when are we ready? When do we start the battle? Lin Jun wasn't in a hurry. Instead, he led many of his subordinates to the Eternity Crystal spaceship. Following Lin Jun were Zi Qinxia, Zi Shisan, and 17. There were also 50 stellar stage experts and 300 planetary stage experts. He was now going to Indigo Bay, since he had decided he would completely conquer this planet. Indigo Bay was about 4 million star force away from Earth. According to the calculation of the speed of light, it would take about 5 months. If he went through the parallel universe, he could reach it in a day. However, Lin Jun wasn't in a hurry. He wanted to complete these challenges on the way. After boarding the spaceship, the Eternity Crystal spaceship started to move towards Indigo Bay according to the interstellar coordinates. Okay, get ready to accept the challenge. The spaceship entered space, and Lin Jun accepted the challenge. The warriors of Indigo Bay were excited again. They didn't expect that the cowardly overlord would dare to accept the challenge. These warriors immediately began a new round of clamoring. They all posted screenshots of Lin Jun accepting their challenges on the internet. Lin Jun, I'm coming. What bullshit overlord. I'll teach you a lesson today. I'll let you know that Earth and Indigo Bay are not on the same level. You don't have the qualifications to be arrogant here. Everyone, go to the Azura arena to watch the battle. I'm the 18th challenger. You'll soon see the scene of me beating Lin Jun. Sigh, I'm really unlucky. I've been waiting for more than 1,000 challengers. I guess by the time it's my turn, Lin Jun will have already lost his desire to fight. The Azura arena also sold tickets. Lin Jun's acceptance of a challenge was not only watched by the warriors of Indigo Bay, but also by the warriors of Earth. Even people from other planets in the Sun Territory would go to watch. However, this venue was booked by Lin Jun. The warriors of Earth could watch for free. The virtual venue was infinitely large. When the news spread, the number of people watching in the Sun Territory could not be calculated. Especially the first match, the Azura Arena made a lot of money from the tickets. Lin Jun accepted the first challenge. His opponent was a warrior from the Vermilion Bird Holy Kingdom of Indigo Bay. He was level 1 satellite, and his name was Wang Baijia. When he found out that he was the first challenger, he was so happy that he went crazy. The first battle was definitely the most watched. In his opinion, Lin Jun was just a Wei Zhou. Their strength was about the same. If he could defeat Lin Jun in this battle, he would become famous. There was no need to elaborate on the various benefits that came with being famous. In short, this was a great opportunity. He called for his friends and invited all the people he knew to go watch this Azura battlefield. When it was time for Lin Jun's appointment, the people in the dimensional universe felt their vision blur. Everyone entered the Azura arena and took their seats. No matter where you sat, everything in the arena could be seen clearly. In the center was a huge circular arena with a diameter of 1,000 meters. It was surrounded by endless seats. A rough estimate showed that there were definitely more than 10 billion people watching the battle. The first to appear in the Azura arena was Lin Jun. Lin Jun was dressed in a silver outfit. He stood in the center of the Azura arena with his hands behind his back. Chapter 436. After Lin Jun finished speaking, there was a sound like a tsunami. Maybe some people were scolding him, some were cursing him, and some were not convinced by him. Tens of billions of people gathered together to shout. It seemed to turn the world upside down. It was really easy for timid people to have a mental breakdown. Lin Jun sneered and thought to himself, "Go ahead and shout. I want to see how much courage you have to fight against me. I hope you can hold on longer." At this time, there was a burst of warm applause in the stands where the Indigo Bay people were located. That was because their first contestant had appeared. Although this person named Wang Baijie is unknown in Indigo Bay Star, and most people don't know who he is, since he is fighting against Lin Jun, he is worthy of support. For today's battle, Wang Baijie had specially changed into a gorgeous set of clothes. There was a golden scale divine artifact armor, a top-grade divine artifact necklace for spiritual defense, and a fiery red divine artifact cloak. It made him look tall and mighty. After entering the arena, he even flew around the venue. Flying over the edge of the stands, a group of flames flew out from his palm and danced in the air with great momentum. Listening to the cheers of the people, Wang Baijie was in high spirits. After circling the arena, he descended from the sky above Lin Jun's head. As his cape fluttered in the wind, Wang Baijie's face was as cold as an iceberg. He slowly descended and looked down at Lin Jun. "Lin Jun, of all the things you shouldn't have done, you shouldn't have placed me first. I'm guessing that you chose me randomly from the many challengers. Otherwise, you wouldn't have the courage to do so after knowing my past." Lin Jun looked up at the slowly descending Wang Baijie in the air and said, "I put you in the first place because I want to completely defeat you people from Indigo Bay Star from low to high. I want you to always feel hope, but when you wait, you will always be in despair." "What did you say? From low to high? Do you mean I am the weakest challenger in Indigo Bay Star?" Wang Baijie suddenly became angry. With a raise of his hand, a 7-colored sword was pulled out and brought out a rainbow in the air. Lin Jun said softly, "You talk too much nonsense. I don't want to talk nonsense with you people anymore. Submit to me and prosper, or oppose me and perish. You can't afford to offend the Lord's authority. How dare you?" Wang Baijie roared as his astral powers burst out. His long sword turned into thousands of sword shadows, blotting out the sky and covering the earth. In the eyes of experts, this move was full of flaws, but experts were always the minority. In any case, Wang Baijie was also at the satellite stage, and he was even a domineering existence on a small planet. Therefore, the people present felt that his sword was almost invincible. Cheers rang out. This Indigo Bay Star martial artist is not bad, of course. Otherwise, would I have the guts to challenge the Lord? Lin Jun is also at the planet realm. He shouldn't be defeated so easily, right? It's hard to say. Challenging someone of a higher rank is a common occurrence. I think he has a higher chance of losing this round. If that's the case, then it's too boring. He still has more than 8,000 matches to fight. If he loses continuously, will he commit suicide? Ha ha ha. Suicide is good. If he commits suicide, we will change the Lord. These were the opinions of ordinary people, but in the eyes of the experts, Lin Jun could not lose this round. Lin Jun was also a Red Star Azura, and he could also challenge someone of a higher rank and defeat someone of the Star Realm. If he lost to this flashy satellite stage martial artist, it would be a joke. Lin Jun's victory was certain. However, although his opponent's strength was not good, his defensive artifact was indeed well equipped. If Lin Jun could not defeat him with thunderous means, then Lin Jun was not worthy of fear. Just as they were guessing what move Lin Jun would use to deal with Lin Jun moved. His hands did not move, his feet did not move, his clothes and hair did not move. The only thing that moved was his eyelids. Lin Jun, whose eyelids were drooping, suddenly looked up at Wang Baijie. Mental attack. A formless and colorless mental power directly hit Wang Baijia's head. Wang Baijia originally brought a top-grade sacred artifact for mental defense, but Lin Zhen's mental power had already reached the middle stage of the Sky Science stage. Not to mention a top-grade sacred artifact. Even a low-grade sacred artifact would not be able to defend against it. The sound of a needle piercing a balloon exploded in Wang Baijia's mind. The sound was not loud, but it was enough to directly pierce his spiritual sea. Pooh! Wang Baijia's pupils suddenly dilated, and everything in front of him instantly turned into nothingness, turning into darkness. Brain death. His body, which had leaped high, lost the control of his brain at this moment. His head was heavy, and his feet were light. His head fell down. Put on. His face fell heavily to the ground, and the mental defense necklace hanging around his neck shattered. The sword in his hand rolled to the side. Dead. The cheers of the audience came to an abrupt end at this moment. Those who were cheering for him seemed to have been collectively choked, and their cheers were forcibly swallowed back into their stomachs. What just happened? Why did Wang Baijia's powerful and peerless sword suddenly seem to have epilepsy halfway through the swing and fall to his death? Lin Zhen clearly did not do anything. The audience was silent, and the scene seemed to be frozen for a few seconds. It was only when Wang Baijia's body disappeared that someone said, "Spirit Reader, the Overlord is a Spirit Reader. His level is so high." A planet-level Spirit Reader was enough to shock too many people. Lin Zhen's cold gaze swept across the crowd, and the cyan light in his eyes made people shudder. Everyone who was looked at by Lin Zhen couldn't help but close their mouths tightly, only feeling that this overlord was very scary. When Lin Zhen turned his gaze, they felt ashamed that they were actually scared by one glance. They couldn't help but hope that someone could defeat Lin Zhen. Chris, the next one, there are more than 8,000 matches. At this speed, how long will it take to finish? Yes, Master, speed up the Azura field. A figure flashed, and the second person appeared in the arena. These more than 8,000 people were all martial artists from Indigo Bay Star, and the second person was also a satellite level 1. After this martial artist entered the arena, he immediately put on a defensive posture. Lin Zhen, don't think that you are invincible just because you defeated a guy who dressed himself like a turkey. Don't compare me with such a person. My name is Pooh. Without waiting for this martial artist to finish introducing himself, Lin Zhen had already sent out a spirit attack. There was no doubt that his brain was dead. Next, Lin Zhen's cold voice seemed to be emotionless, and it made the restless scene quiet again. So cruel. He didn't even let people introduce him. Really arrogant. I really look forward to someone who can come out and destroy his prestige. The people of Indigo Bay Star whispered, and the third martial artist appeared. This martial artist was dressed in black, and he deeply learned the lesson of the failure of the previous two martial artists. After appearing, he concentrated and stepped back quickly, hoping to get out of the range of Lin Zhen's spirit attack first, and then look for an opportunity to fight back. But he didn't know how large the area Lin Zhen's sky blue spirit power could cover. Not to mention this 1,000-meter Azura field, even within tens of thousands of meters. Lin Zhen's spirit attack was pervasive. He stepped back, and his body flew backward, and when he landed, he became a corpse. Next, the cold voice sounded again, and the people of Indigo Bay Star shuddered. I know the fourth one. The fourth martial artist is a spirit reader master, and he will be able to resist Lin Zhen's spirit attack. Someone come and teach this arrogant man a lesson. The people of Indigo Bay Star had been completely angered by Lin Zhen's cold-blooded arrogance, and the honor between the nations was aroused. They roared and waved their arms, looking forward to the appearance of their planet's warriors. Seeing that the fourth martial artist was about to take the stage, Lin Zhen told Chris, speed up the interval between each martial artist appearance. If the first martial artist fails, the second martial artist must appear within 0.1 seconds. Understood. The fourth martial artist appeared. As soon as this person appeared, he rushed toward Lin Zhen fiercely. He was one with the sword, and at the same time, he also issued a spirit attack on Lin Zhen, concentrating all his life's knowledge on this blow. Poof! There was no suspense, a headshot. Lin Jun didn't want to be a little long-winded with these people, and directly launched a fierce spirit attack. Not only did it break the opponent's spiritual sea, but it also directly burst the opponent's head. Blood and brain matter soared into the sky and quickly disappeared. This time, the people of Indigo Bay Star did not have time to be angry, and the fifth martial artist appeared immediately. The spirit attack came again. This martial artist had no chance to react at all. Just like the fourth martial artist, his head exploded magnificently. Before his body even had time to disappear, the sixth martial artist appeared. Lin Jun put his hands behind his back, and this time, he didn't even open his eyes. He directly launched a spirit attack. Another big head exploded 100 meters away from Lin Jun. Although everyone's position was random, Lin Jun's spirit power covered the entire field. He knew where someone appeared immediately, and then immediately launched a spirit attack. 50 meters ahead, explode. 130 meters to the right, explode. 455 meters behind, explode. Poof, 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 poof. Chris set the time for each martial artist to appear within 0.1 seconds, which meant that the second martial artist would appear immediately after the first one died. This almost negligible time difference created a hellish scene. Lin Jun stood in the middle of the field. Heads exploded everywhere around him, and blood flew everywhere. One by one, people fell down and died. Whether they were famous or not on Indigo Bay Star, they couldn't escape this fatal spirit attack. Blood flew as if it was boiling, and corpses fell one after another. They didn't even have the strength to fight back. 10 rounds, 50 rounds, 100 rounds, 300 rounds. The Sharaba had probably never had such a killing speed. At least 5 people fell every second. Oh no, this can't be real. Devil. Our overlord is definitely a devil. The people present clenched their fists tightly and bit their lips. Blood oozed out of the corners of their mouths, but they didn't even dare to breathe loudly. Chapter 437. No one had ever seen such a way of fighting before. Everyone had seen a telekinesis master before, but no one had ever thought that a telekinesis master could be this strong. Those who were weaker screamed in fear. They closed their eyes and couldn't bear to watch. Those who were stronger endured their fear and carefully observed Lin Jun's telekinesis attacks. When the telekinesis attacks were too frequent, Lin Jun's telekinesis began to show signs. After a few months of hard work, Lin Jun's telekinesis had improved again and reached 55% Azure. So when he used it frequently, his Azure telekinesis, which was more than half, became more obvious. Streaks of azure light accurately hit each contestant's brain, knocking them down without any suspense. Azure telekinesis. God, it really is the power of Azure. He's too strong, and he's in the middle stage of Azure. There is a huge threshold for a telekinesis master's telekinesis from Diamond to Azure. There might be 1,000 Diamond telekinesis masters, but there might not even be one Azure telekinesis master. When this telekinesis master went berserk, even a Diamond Peak telekinesis master wouldn't be able to withstand it. If you wanted to fight against a mid-Azure telekinesis master, you had to have a mid-grade artifact for telekinesis defense, and you had to be at least a Diamond Peak telekinesis master. Or if you were a mid-Azure telekinesis master and had a low-grade artifact, you might be able to withstand it. Otherwise, you definitely wouldn't be able to withstand Lin Jun's telekinesis attacks. Not to mention how few Azure telekinesis masters there were who could even get a mid-grade telekinesis defense artifact. So when fighting against Lin Jun, if you didn't meet these two standards, don't even think about fighting against him. Those who were ranked at the top were generally weaker. They didn't have strong telekinesis and didn't have the ability to get a good artifact, so they could only be crazily slaughtered by Lin Jun. Yes, it was a crazy massacre. Blood sprayed everywhere like fountains. No one could withstand Lin Jun's telekinesis attacks. Initially, they thought that the 8,000-plus battles would take forever. However, under Lin Jun's crazy massacre, the battles flew by quickly. If he could kill 5 in a second, That would be 300 in a minute, and 3,000 in 10 minutes. 20 minutes. A whole 20 minutes had passed. The people present watched a crazy performance, a bloody massacre of the 8,000 challengers. Only 2,000 were left. At the beginning, it was the satellite stage, and its level was relatively low. People had placed their hopes on the satellite stage, but the satellite stage was no exception. They were all headbutt by Lin Jun. Then, people placed their hopes on the planet realm, but it was useless. They couldn't resist Lin Jun's mind power, so they didn't have the slightest ability to fight back. They still rushed forward one by one. By the time Lin Jun had killed more than 6,000 people, the martialists that appeared had already reached the planet warrior level 6 or 7. The weak ones had all been killed. At this moment, someone suddenly shouted, "Look at Lin Jun's level. He has actually become an Azura King." Only now did people notice that on Lin Jun's chest, the symbol of the red star Azura had changed to that of the Azura King. The red star on his chest had turned into 3 crowns. When people checked Lin Jun's information, they were horrified to find that Lin Jun's record had become 7,120 wins and 41 losses. Triple Crown Azura King. 1,000 wins meant 1 star promotion. 2,000 wins meant 2 stars. 4,000 wins meant 3 stars. If the victory rate reached 99%, it would be 3 crowns. Lin Jun already had more than 7,000 wins. If he completed 8,000 wins, he would be a 4-crown Azura King. Damn it, Lin Jun actually defeated a triple crown Azura King. You're all trash. Compatriots of the Indigo Bay Star, can you not challenge Lin Jun with just any Tom, Dick, and Harry? This overlord is not a dish that anyone can abuse. Where are the experts? Where are the experts? Our Indigo Bay Star has so many super experts. Why haven't any of them appeared? Those who came out are all good-for-nothings. This is great. Lin Jun is rampant enough. Indigo Bay Star's face has been lost because of you. Only now did the people of Indigo Bay Star realize how stupid they were to provoke Lin Jun so crazily. Perhaps provoking Lin Jun was not wrong, but no matter who dared to provoke Lin Jun, it was wrong. In order to prove their strength and courage, these people thought that Lin Jun was a soft persimmon and did not dare to accept any challenge. So they used this matter as a medal of courage. In the end, it greatly helped Lin Jun. Advancing to the Azura King in 20 minutes, this might be the fastest Azura King in history. The Azura Arena prohibited malicious achievements. For every battle, they had to assess it. For example, if a person consecutively challenged another person, then only the first victory would be counted, and the subsequent victories would not be counted. For large-scale challenges, there were even special investigations to prevent the emergence of an Azura King. The Azura King has a very high status in the Sanjiang Federation. The status of an Azura King is almost second only to the position of the Emperor in an elementary civilization. For example, Lin Jun, a genuine Azura King, returned to the Sky River Empire. If he wants to be an official, he can definitely be a prince. However, such an important position had been created so easily. The crazy provocation of the Indigo Bay Star's warriors gave Lin Jun a justifiable excuse. He became a 3-crown Azura King in one fell swoop, and is now aiming for the 4-crown Azura King. Stop him. Come and stop him. It's useless. The battle order was set by him. We can only follow his order. The real masters are behind, but don't worry. When the high-level planet warriors appear, he won't be so arrogant. Yes, I just saw Holly preparing. He is already a 9th-ranked planet warrior and has obtained an intermediate-grade spiritual defense weapon. He will definitely be able to stop Lin Jun's spiritual attack. Great! Finally, we don't have to watch Lin Jun's crazy slaughter. Lin Jun, if you have the ability, fight with us Indigo Bay Star's warriors with real swords and spears. What kind of hero is this? Lin Jun didn't care about these people at all. His goal is to get the 4-crown Azura King. The position of prince is indeed good, but more importantly, because the 4-crown Azura King is an intermediate Azura King, it has a special privilege. It's the quasi-vacuum space of the Azura field. The simulated space is more advanced than the virtual space. In the battle inside, one can set any battle scene, and during the battle, one can really comprehend and make breakthroughs. This is a technology only available to advanced civilizations in the universe. In the Sanjiang Federation, only some royals and intermediate Azura kings can enjoy it. With the simulated space, Lin Jun can set the battlefield according to his needs, anytime and anywhere, and the progress of his training will inevitably be rapid. As for other privileges, there are countless, such as high interest-free loans, and the repayment period can even be tens of thousands of years. For example, in the entire Sanjiang Federation, his identity will be treated with high standards, and there are many judicial immunity, and so on. So he must get it. Lin Jun's mind power was still being released crazily. There is an advantage to fighting in the Azura field. After every battle, Lin Jun's state will recover to its peak, so no matter how much Lin Jun uses, his mind power will be full. 7,200 wins. 7,500 wins. 7,800 wins. When Lin Jun's record reached 7,800 wins, he felt the crazy cheers of the people in the Indigo Bay Star stands, as if someone amazing has appeared. And now, the opponents that appeared were all planet level 9. Looks like I'm finally going to meet someone who needs me to fight. Then come. Chris, slow down the progress. The real battle is about to begin. Yes, master. Chris slowed down the speed of the battle in the Azura field, and the scene of brain matter spraying all over the field finally stopped. This also let the people of Indigo Bay Star breathe a sigh of relief. Although they knew that all of this was virtual, no one wanted to see that kind of scene. They wanted to see a normal battle, not a massacre. Another planet level 9 fell in front of Lin Jun, and then the next martial artist appeared. Holly! 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 Lin Jun sneered. This should be a star martial artist of Indigo Bay Star. When they saw that Holly didn't appear and was shot in the head by Lin Jun, like the other martial artists, the people of Indigo Bay Star suddenly boiled up. Lin Jun, you're finished. I'll let you see the real masters of our black tortoise holy country. The previous battles don't count. This is the real battle. Lin Jun looked at the martial artist named Holly, who was a planet level 9 Azura. The key point was that this person wore a necklace for mental defense, a low-grade divine artifact. Moreover, he was a Diamond Peak Spirit Reader Master. It seems that you are indeed someone who can withstand my mental attack, but I really don't understand your thinking. Do you think that I only have mental attacks? Holly saw that Lin Jun didn't use any mental attacks and immediately breathed a sigh of relief. He held a long sword in both hands and pointed at Lin Jun. Lin Jun, your performance is over. Now, I'll give you your first defeat after becoming the Azura King. With a spring of his feet, Holly rushed forward. His speed was extremely fast. Lin Jun snorted and looked at Holly rushing over. When he was in front of him, he suddenly had a thought. Space cut. A space crack appeared, and Holly was shocked. The space crack was as thin as a hair, but it was the sharpest knife. If he was cut by it, he would definitely be cut in half. He wanted to teleport away, but Lin Jun shrouded him with another time acceleration, and his speed suddenly increased tenfold. Before he could teleport, he was directly cut in half by the space crack. The two halves of his body fell to the ground, and the battle was over. The scene was suddenly silent. However, the next battle immediately began, and the following martial artists couldn't withstand Lin Jun's mental attacks. 5 minutes later, Lin Jun's opponent became a star-level warrior. At this time, he had also won 8,000 victories, and the crown on his chest had increased from 3 to 4. Chapter 438. Watching Lin Jun advance all the way to the 4-crowned Azura King, the warriors of Indigo Bay Star held their breaths. Didn't you just rely on bullying the weak to advance? The next opponents are all stellar stage. Your arrogance is over. The first stellar stage opponent appeared. To be able to cultivate to the stellar stage, even if they don't have the Azure Spirit, they can still get a Spirit Defense artifact. Even if they don't have it, they can borrow it from their friends. Lin Jun lined them up at the back, giving them time to borrow it. Therefore, Lin Jun's mental attack was only used at this moment. The next battle would be the real test of his skills. When the stellar stage opponent stood in front of Lin Jun also took out the yin-yang spear. "Sir Lord, your performance has won my respect, but I won't be merciful." "Cut the crap." The yin-yang spear shook and stabbed out. Meteor fall, indestructible, time acceleration. The power and speed of the spear reached the limit, and the stellar stage expert couldn't even block it. He was directly blasted out of the arena. The people who were cheering for him just now shut up again. They only felt that this Azura arena was too depressing. No matter who went on stage, they would lose, and they lost so cleanly. Is there really no one who can stop Lin Jun? The experts who didn't go on stage saw Lin Jun's spear and suddenly felt cold. They weren't afraid of Lin Jun's spirit attack, but they all saw the power of the spear just now. It was a real skill. No matter who faced it, it would be difficult to resist. A lord with super strong spirit attack and stronger combat ability was almost invulnerable. Many people began to regret their original challenge, but what was done couldn't be undone. They couldn't help it. In the subsequent battles, Lin Jun didn't use his mind shock anymore. However, no one was able to dodge his spear, which was like a meteor falling from the sky. Any kind of teleportation was a joke in front of Lin Jun. No matter who it was, Lin Jun could easily interrupt them, forcing them to face his newly learned move. Victory after victory began again. Even stellar stage opponents could not stop Lin Jun's pace of victory. As the Gold Star Azuras retreated one after another, Lin Jun's victory count continued to climb. 2 hours later, Lin Jun's victory count had reached 9,100. As for the 8,120 battles, there were only 20 battles left to be fought. Finally, a level 9-star Star Azura appeared. However, the Red Star Azura that everyone had high hopes for didn't defeat Lin Jun. The first Red Star Azura fought with Lin Jun for a minute before being defeated. The second Red Star Azura was defeated in 1 minute and 15 seconds. Then, the third one, the fourth one. Lin Jun's newly comprehended meteor spear technique was indeed powerful enough. In addition, he had many tricks up his sleeves, making it impossible for his opponents to guard against him. Even if those Red Star Azuras used all of their skills, they were still unable to obstruct his path to victory. Chaoyang, Chaoyang, Martial God, Martial God, Lin Jun, you're finished. I'll show you the strength of the strongest person on Indigo Bay planet. How can you, the Azura King, be compared to Chaoyang? You're worse than an ant. When the arena was filled with loud cheers, Lin Jun looked at the person who had appeared in front of him. A level 9 stellar-level spirit reader appeared with a white halberd in his hand and a ferocious expression on his face. Is this the first person to challenge me on Indigo Bay planet? Master, this is the last battle. Once you defeat him, all the battles will be over. Lin Jun glanced at his opponent's record. The number of victories in the Azura arena had reached more than 70,000. Moreover, his opponent's victory rate had reached 99%. 7-crowned Azura King. Lin Jun took a deep breath. In this round of more than 8,000 battles, this is the only one he cares about. After his avatar advanced to the planet stage, Lin Jun knew that ordinary star stage cultivators are no longer his opponents. Chaoyang hasn't spoken yet, but countless people on Indigo Bay planet had already set off a huge wave of cheers. The crowd made a continuous gesture of worship. Obviously, this person has a very high reputation on Indigo Bay planet. Chaoyang also seemed to enjoy this process. It wasn't until the crowd rose and fell 3 times that he slowly raised his hand and pressed it down. The noise of the crowd stopped immediately. Chaoyang slowly said to Lin Jun at this time, "Lord Lin Jun, I have to say that your luck is very good. Just a few days before I was about to apply for the title of Lord, you applied for it. Just because you were short of 5 billion Sky River coins, this starry sky became your territory." Lin Jun glanced at the 7 crowns on Chaoyang's chest. As the 7-crowned Azura King, you can apply for a territory in the Sanjiang Federation. Why do you still want to stay in the Sky River Empire? There is no other reason, because Indigo Bay planet is my hometown. Chaoyang pointed his halberd at Lin Jun. You took away the position that originally belonged to me, so I was the first to challenge you. However, you are very cunning. You didn't accept my challenge at first, but waited until you broke through, then came here to show off. Unfortunately, you forgot to refuse my challenge, so don't think that you have been in the limelight for a long time. You will end up in an ugly state in the end. Haha, Chao Yang, you think too highly of yourself. Although the seven-crowned Azura King is strong, you are only a Star Lord. Not being a Lord shows that you are not strong enough. Ignorant. It's just that I don't have enough money. Money is also a part of strength. I have money, so I can become a Lord. I can buy a group of stellar stage slaves and wipe out your Indigo Bay planet. Chao Yang, you can't compare to me in this aspect. Chao Yang's face suddenly turned red. Being poor really makes him feel embarrassed, but money is not so easy to earn. Over the years, he has basically spent all his time fighting in the Azura field in order to get the title of Azura King and then take a loan to become a lord. However, after years of waiting, he got the news that Lin Jun became a lord, and he was only a little short of money. How can he be reconciled with that? Lin Jun, you have successfully angered me. I will continue to challenge you. Don't even think about mixing in the Azura field in the future. Ice domain. The ice element around his body erupted, and a white field of wind and snow suddenly appeared. Star River domain. Lin Jun also immediately activated his Star River domain. Facing the seven-crowned Azura King, he did not dare to be careless. The spear and the halberd clashed, and the domains clashed. During the battle, Lin Jun found that Chao Yang was also a spirit reader of the Azure level, just a little bit weaker than himself. Both of them did not use teleportation. They were fighting with their own abilities. Everyone watching the battle had their hearts in their throats. No one dared to underestimate Lin Jun. In their hearts, this lord was comparable to the great Demon King. Among the spectators, Han Sha and Jerry were also among them. They had been watching the battle since the beginning. Who do you hope will win? Han Sha asked. Your question stumped me. One is the person we have chosen to participate in the concentration camp below 100 years old, and the other is a warrior who has joined us and has successfully taken the Beast King gene fluid. They are both on the same side. Who do you think I should choose? Han Sha could not help but nod. Yes, Chao Yang has been taking the gene fluid for 10 years. He is 99 years old this year, and he has already cultivated to the level 9-star state. He could be considered a peerless genius. He is also one of the participants in this year's concentration camp. We were hoping that he would achieve good results. Who would have thought that he would be matched up against Lin Jun? Hearing the regret in Han Sha's tone, Jerry asked, "Who do you hope will win?" Han Sha smiled. Actually, we both have the answer. We have the same thought. We hope that Lin Jun will win because Lin Jun is not at a disadvantage against Chao Yang. He has just reached the level 1 planet state and has not taken the gene fluid. If he takes the gene fluid, I'm looking forward to his performance in the concentration camp below 100 years old. Maybe he will become the champion? Han Sha smiled. Champion? I don't dare to think about it. The Sanjiang Federation has never achieved such good results. Most of the peerless geniuses are born in the Empire. After all, it is a high-level cosmic civilization. It is too difficult for the middle-level cosmic civilizations to become the champion. Let's not make wild guesses. The concentration camp below 100 years old will be held in the World Stone. We still don't know what it will be like. Yes, but I can't wait. Lin Jun's performance surprised me. Let's not say it too early. He might lose to Chao Yang. It is hard to say. I think Chao Yang is about to activate his bloodline power. While the two of them were talking, the battle at the scene had reached its climax. A series of flames danced in the air. The rumbling elemental explosions shook the space. The two of them were running around in the ice and fire. Their domains overlapped, suppressing and being suppressed. They were entangled. The battle between the spear and the halberd was earth-shattering. Every attack was ingenious. When it was fast, it was like a lightning storm. When it was slow, it was enough to make people shiver. However, as the battle progressed, Lin Jun slowly gained the upper hand. In terms of absolute star power, Lin Jun was not as good as Chao Yang. However, Lin Jun won because he was extremely talented in battle and had many tricks up his sleeves. The space cracks were crisscrossing. Chao Yang's attacks would often be interrupted. Also, Lin Jun's sudden increase in speed made him even more flustered. Every time he used a move, it would suddenly die. Time after time, it would be exhausted. Chao Yang couldn't stand the torture anymore. Lin Jun, enough. Let's end the battle here. With a loud roar, the clothes on Chao Yang's back were suddenly torn apart. Rows and rows of arms appeared on his back. They were not illusions. Every pair of arms was real. Each hand was holding a weapon. When Lin Jun saw Chao Yang like this, he inexplicably thought of a god called Thousand-Hand Guanyin from the Christian era. Chao Yang floated in the air and coldly looked at Lin Jun. Lin Jun, you can block one of my hands, but how can you block 100 of my hands? Die for me. Chapter 439. Looking at Chao Yang's appearance, Lin Jun immediately understood. Chao Yang was another genetic enhancer. Unlike Anderson, who was almost a mutant, Chao Yang was a successful enhancer. However, the gene fluid he used was not a galactic beast gene. Amongst the enhancers, about half of them had consumed ordinary mutant beast genes, while the remaining half had consumed beast king genes. Among the remaining quarter, half used low-level galactic beast genes. Anderson belonged to this level, but he was a failed product. Then there were mid-level galactic beast genes and high-level galactic beast genes. As for the strongest super-galactic beast gene, it was 1 in a million. Chao Yang's current state belonged to the beast king gene. He should have used a mutant ice centipede gene. A centipede had many legs, but when used on a human, it was like having more arms. Chao Yang had more than 100 arms on his body, and countless weapons rained down on him. From Chao Yang's point of view, Lin Jun could not block his attack. How could one pair of arms fight against 100 of his arms? Lin Jun held his breath and concentrated. His feet moved continuously with the plum blossom steps. Just as Chao Yang's attack was about to reach him, the yin-yang spear stabbed out. Meteor. A meteor flew from the sky and met the opponent's attack head-on. Huh, fool! How can one spear fight against 100 of my arms? Go to hell. Lin Jun sneered. He did not care about Chao Yang's mockery. When the two attacks collided, he suddenly exerted his strength. The meteor exploded. Countless meteorite fragments erupted like a geyser, intercepting all of Chao Yang's attacks in the air. A large number of explosions flashed in front of their eyes. Both of their bodies trembled in shock waves. The rumbling of the collision caused the virtual ground of the Azura field to be flattened and then automatically repaired. After repairing, the ground was once again filled with holes. This process was a competition of absolute strength between both parties. Whoever exhausted their strength first would lose. Lin Jun was also crazily using his star power. The impact of the collision made his muscles and bones weak. This was a test of star power, but more importantly, it was a test of stamina. Lin Jun, don't be stubborn. My body has been strengthened by the Geno fluid. How can your mere human body fight against me? Lin Jun endured the soreness in his body. The continuous impact caused his feet to sink into the ground. Just when he felt that it was difficult to continue, a wave of fiery heat surged out of his body. This strength came from every cell and muscle in his body, allowing him to continue persevering. This is Xianwan's power. My doppelganger is the body of the supergalactic beast Fire Kirin. That's why my genes are the strongest. It's just that my bloodline power hasn't been activated yet. But with the basic strength of this body, I'm not afraid of Chao Yang's Beast King power. If I really get the Fire Kirin's bloodline and awaken the potential in my body, how strong will my body become? I need to get the gene medicine as soon as possible. Under Chao Yang's powerful attacks, Lin Jun's potential was stimulated a little. This was enough to fight against Chao Yang. After a minute of bombardment, Lin Jun held on. On the contrary, Chao Yang's strength was no longer enough to support such a high-intensity attack. The hundreds of hands behind Chao Yang became weak and had to stop. Impossible. This is impossible. You actually used the power of a spear to block the attacks of hundreds of my hands. The flames of war stopped. Chao Yang looked at Lin Jun in disbelief, as if he was looking at a monster. Could it be that you have also strengthened your genes and bloodline? Then you don't need to know so much. This time it's my turn to attack. Star field. Lin Jun raised his hand and opened his star field again. Within a second, 7 stars condensed in the sky. He was ready to use Star Explosion to end this battle. Chao Yang was now exhausted. Although it was very short, it was enough to determine the outcome of the battle. This was the benefit of having a powerful bloodline. Don't even think about defeating me. The position of Overlord is mine. Chao Yang roared and finally used his last move. From between his eyebrows, a green poisonous fog wrapped in white frost sprayed out and shrouded Lin Jun. Seeing that Lin Jun did not dodge, Chao Yang laughed and said, "You are finished. This is the poison of the ice centipede. It is enough to turn you into a pool of blood in a second. Lin Jun, goodbye." He laughed a few times, but soon he could not laugh anymore. Lin Jun still controlled the planets and quickly set up an inescapable net around Chao Yang. Then he began a violent star explosion. Chao Yang's body, which had been strengthened by the Ice Centipede King, could not withstand such a violent bombardment. After more than a dozen planets exploded in a row, his body finally could not hold on anymore. Why? Why are you not poisoned? You don't need to know. Chao Yang, your Indigo Bay planet has lost. Lin Jun raised his hand, and 4 more planets appeared in his star field. They surrounded Chao Yang from 4 directions and exploded at the same time. In a strong flash, Chao Yang's body was blown to pieces and turned into ashes. Watching Chao Yang's body disappear, Lin Jun raised his hand and waved away the poison that permeated the air. "Humph! Using poison on me. You are asking for humiliation." Looking up at the surrounding audience, Lin Jun said loudly, "The battle is over. I hope you don't forget what I said before the battle. Pay all the taxes, and your political institutions will immediately transfer power to my office. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude." The scene was quiet. These people from the Sun Territory were deterred by Lin Jun's powerful force and did not dare to make a sound. However, many people still felt lucky. So what if Lin Jun was powerful? "If you can't reach our planet, we won't surrender. You can't do anything to us." Lin Jun certainly knew the psychology of some people. He did not waste time here and directly removed the Shuraba. The scene disappeared, and everyone retreated from the dimensional universe. The people from the Sun Territory were now observing the attitude of the Indigo Bay Star. If the Indigo Bay Star still insisted, then they would not pay the taxes. On the forum of the Indigo Bay Star, there were indeed some people who were not convinced and clamored. They said that Lin Jun should collect the taxes if he had the ability. If not, he should just stay on Earth. However, experts like Chao Yang did not make a sound. After all, they had cultivated for many years and were knowledgeable. They knew that with Lin Jun's strength, he would come to the Indigo Bay Star sooner or later. However, they did not expect Lin Jun to come so soon. 3 minutes after the Shuraba ended, Lin Jun's Constantine crystal spaceship appeared in the sky above the Indigo Bay Star. "Master, we have arrived at the Indigo Bay Star. Call all the important people on this planet. I want them to appear in front of my spaceship within 10 minutes. If they don't come by then, they will be treated as traitors." Looking at the beautiful planet with an ocean area that was even larger than Earth, Lin Jun gave the order. All the call messages in the dimensional universe were sent out. The news of Lin Jun's arrival immediately spread throughout the Indigo Bay Star. This news made those who were still hoping for a fluke despair. A powerful lord who owned a spaceship at the speed of light proved his financial strength. Such a lord was almost impossible to resist. After the crazy massacre in the Shuraba, no one doubted that Lin Jun was a ruthless guy. At this time, no one dared to disobey his orders. Within 10 minutes, all the people on the Indigo Bay Star who were called gathered in front of the Constantine crystal spaceship. As the number 1 expert of the Indigo Bay Star, Chao Yang stood in front of the team and looked at the spaceship made of Constantine crystals. He deeply realized the huge gap between himself and Lin Jun. This spaceship alone might be a huge wealth that he could never hope to achieve. Everyone stood below for a full hour before the door of the spaceship opened. The first to come out were 100 stellar stage experts. These people stood in 2 rows. Then, 2 Blackwing clan warriors walked out. Stellar level 9. A stellar level 9 spirit reader. This is almost the same as martial god Chao Yang. The people below murmured quietly. Zhi-Shur-San and Zhi-Shur-San stood in front of the team. Then, a beautiful figure appeared at the door of the spaceship. The beautiful Blackwing clan princess, Zhi Qianxia, walked out. Oh my god, advanced black hole stage. She's about to become a nebula stage expert, and she's not a slave. Who is this person? Does Lin Jun want to wipe out our planet? The people of our entire planet combined can't stop more than 100 people. Damn it. Why did I want to challenge the lore in the first place? He won't be jealous that I challenged him and accused me of crime, right? Forget it. He won't remember you. You're just one of the thousands of people who were killed by a headshot. You're not worth remembering at all. While everyone was feeling nervous, Zhi Qianxia bowed slightly and invited Lin Jun out of the cabin door. Lin Jun held Zhi Qianxia's hand and looked down at the dark crowd below. Did you forget what I said? The king of the Azure Dragon Holy Empire was sweating profusely. My lord, we didn't forget. You came too quickly, and we didn't have time to send you the tax. But it's better that you came in person. We can hand it to you face to face. Remember, it's double. Yes, it's definitely double. Not a cent less. Lin Jun walked down slowly and stopped in front of Chao Yang. Do you still want to be the lord? Chao Yang smiled bitterly and shook his head. My lord, don't ridicule me. I didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. I will personally apologize to you at the welcome banquet later. Lin Jun smiled and patted Chao Yang's shoulder. I could drink a lot. You have to be mentally prepared. Seeing Lin Jun smile, the people of Indigo Bay breathed a sigh of relief. As long as Lin Jun didn't punish them, it was fine. Chapter 440. The Indigo Bay incident was the beginning of the unification of Lin Jun's territory. Seeing that the Indigo Bay planet was conquered by Lin Jun, the other planets in the Sun territory also surrendered. The process was extremely smooth. After receiving a large amount of income, all the work on Earth was on the right track. Lin Jun did not need to spend money on it himself. The interstellar route began to open, and the Sun territory was open for navigation. The people of Earth began to truly walk out of the solar system and enter the vast interstellar space. Until this time, Lin Jun could be considered to have fulfilled the wish of his previous life. The people of Earth were no longer sold to the slave market like pigs and sheep. Instead, they had truly obtained human rights, and their future was bright. After putting down the worries of his previous life, Lin Jun held a low-key wedding. Lin Jun's wedding only invited a few acquaintances and guests. He did not inform the other planets in the Sun territory. Most of the people of Earth only knew about Lin Jun's wedding later. Master, you look really handsome in this outfit. Lin Jun looked at the huge floor mirror. In the mirror, he was wearing a beautiful white suit with a China-style bridegroom's flower on his chest. His hair was combed to the back of his head, revealing his handsome face. He looked like a handsome man in high spirits. Hee. Do I look good? Lin Jun turned around and asked. A large group of people stood behind him. Most of them were pirates. Of course, there were also some good friends from Earth. From Zhao Yang's group when he first entered the Zephyr Martial Arts School, to Yin Chie's group later. They had all kinds of strength, but they had a common identity, and that was Lin Jun's friends. Good. Very good. Handsome is only one word, and I'll only say it once. Originally, my handsomeness was the peak of humanity. I didn't expect you, Lin Jun, to be even more handsome than me. This is simply heaven-defying. Lin Jun laughed. He did not believe the flattery of his friends. Instead, he turned to Zhi Qianxia and said, Qianxia, what do you think? Zhi Qianxia stared at Lin Jun for a while, then gently raised her hand and tidied up Lin Jun's hair. Zhi Qianxia retracted her hand and said, I feel much better this time. The surrounding men had envious looks in their eyes. Lin Jun was a feudal lord. He had 2 beautiful wives and a terrifyingly powerful maid by his side. He was a typical winner in life. Master, it's about time. All right, let's go and pick up the bride. A group of people walked out of Sky City. In front of the gate, there was a luxuriously decorated carriage. The animals pulling the carriage were actually two-winged Pegasi. They came from a planet in the Sun territory and were called unicorns. Blazing Angel Jason was the coachman. His 6 white wings made him look like a god. He bowed respectfully to Lin Jun. Lin Jun got on the carriage. Jason shook the reins, and the carriage rose into the air. Behind Lin Jun, countless Star Realm experts rose into the air. His pirate crew also put on suits and held trays of various sizes. On the trays, there were all kinds of betrothal gifts. The grand procession set off, but it did not cause too much of commotion. Nowadays, many people picked up the bride in this way. Moreover, Lin Jun did not announce the news. He also forbade the people around him to spread the news. Everything would be announced after the wedding. The unicorn carriage arrived at the headquarters of the Yin group in the capital. Su Mingwei did not have parents or family. She also stayed with Ning in the Yin group. No one dared to treat Su Mingwei as an outsider. After all, she and Ning were both Lin Jun's wives. Now that Lin Jun was the lord, they were the lord's wives. No one dared to offend them. Moreover, Ning and Su Mingwei had a very good relationship. Anyone who wanted to sow discord between them would only be courting death. When the procession arrived at the door, firecrackers sounded. The most famous band from the Indigo Bay planet, the Flower Band, began their performance. Amidst the flowers and applause, Lin Jun stepped into the building of the Yin group. On the top floor of the building, his 2 beautiful brides were waiting for him. Along the way, Ronnie, Steven, and the others around Lin Jun were responsible for giving red packets. Every time they saw someone, they would give a big red packet. It was not a lot. It was only 1 million galaxy dollars. If it was converted to Earth's currency, 1 red packet would be worth 1 billion. Many of the group's employees who received the red packets were going crazy. If they lived on Earth, they would not be able to spend all this money in 10 lifetimes. When they reached the top floor and arrived at the bride's room, Zhao Xiaoman blocked Lin Jun's way. Hee, Brother Lin, if you don't satisfy me, I won't be able to see the 2 sisters-in-law. Steven, who was beside Lin Jun, smiled cheekily. Little girl, it's easy for our boss to satisfy you. However, today is his wedding day. I'm afraid it's not good. I think you should wash up tomorrow night and wait. Bah, nothing good comes out of your pirate dogs' mouths. Zhao Xiaoman's face turned red. She secretly glanced at Lin Jun. Seeing that Lin Jun was smiling and did not seem to care, she was slightly relieved. Just as she was about to say something, Lin Jun handed over a big red packet. Take it. I specially prepared it for you. It's so thin. Brother Lin, you... what kind of money is this? Zhao Xiaoman took out a dozen banknotes. Each banknote had a fire qilin pattern on it. Each banknote was worth 10,000 qilin. Someone nearby exclaimed, "Oh my god, these are qilin coins, my god. 1 million qilin coins. Xiaoman, you're rich." Qilin coins. That. How much is that? Isn't it simple? I'll calculate it for you. 1 million qilin coins is 1 billion Sanjiang coins. 1 billion Sanjiang coins is 1 trillion Tiana coins. 1 trillion Tiana coins is... How many Earth currencies are there? Oh, I can't calculate it. 1 trillion Tiana coins. Zhao Xiaoman was stunned for a while, then suddenly turned around and said, "No, I have to exchange this money quickly, huh? I can buy whatever I want without any worries." Lin Jun poured cold water on Zhao Xiaoman's excitement. "Xiaoman, there is no qilin coin exchange service in the Sky River Empire. If you want to exchange, remember to go to the Sanjiang Federation." Go to the Sanjiang Federation? But my identity is not enough to go there. Zhao Xiaoman was stunned. Then I can't help you. Take your 1 million qilin coins and look at it every day. Lin Jun walked over with a smirk on his face. Zhao Xiaoman was stunned for a moment, and she almost went crazy. "Lin Jun, why do you give me so much money that I can't spend? Are you trying to make me beg for food?" Ignoring Zhao Xiaoman's whining, Lin Jun gently pushed the door open. Inside the room, accompanied by 2 angel maids, Big and Little Angel, and Ning and Su Mingwei have finished dressing up, wearing white wedding dresses, waiting for Lin Jun's arrival. The fragrance of his two wives, who were more beautiful than flowers, made Lin Jun's heart palpitate. Slowly walking to the bed, Lin Jun put two space rings inlaid with eternal crystals on the hands of his two wives. You have worked hard these past few years. Today, I promise you that I will be with you forever without end. The eyes of the two girls were a little red. They have finally waited for this day, and they could finally be with the man they love. Lin Jun carried out all kinds of customs around him. Then he gently hugged the two petite brides, one in each hand. Let's go to the wedding venue. Teleport. Lin Jun teleported away with the two brides, and all the guests present also teleported away at the same time. All of them were above the star realm, so teleporting wasn't a problem. The room, which was full of flowers a second ago, was empty in the blink of an eye. This scene would be extremely strange if it was in the era of the Christian calendar. The wedding venue was in the Lord's mansion of Sky City, and the person presiding over the wedding was Gongsun, due he was Su Mingyue's master and could be considered the only family member of Su Mingyue's maiden family. Everyone, including Lin Jun's parents and Ning's parents, were sitting on the side. Gongsun Du stood in front of Lin Jun and the other two, slightly praying, and then said to Lin Jun, Mr. Lin Jun, may I ask if you are willing to take these two beautiful ladies as your wives, and to love and respect them forever, regardless of wealth, poverty, sickness, and never leave them? Lin Jun replied with a smile, I am willing, and I will love and respect them forever. I will not be poor or rich, and I will keep them healthy forever, and never leave them. Gongsun Du was stunned for a moment, then realized that Lin Jun could really do what he said, and immediately turned to Ning and Su Mingyue. Beautiful Ning and Miss Su Mingyue, are you? We are willing. After asking the question, Gongsun Du handed the prepared marriage certificate to them. The universe has witnessed your wedding. The sun, the moon, and the stars are your matchmakers, and the people of the world bless you. Now, I declare that you are officially husband and wife. The music sounded again, and Gongsun Du, as Su Mingyue's parents, also went to the parents' table. Lin Jun and the other two toasted the parents, which was considered a formal greeting. Lin Jun and Li Qin were smiling from ear to ear. No matter how great Lin Jun's achievements were, in their opinion, it was better to start a family early. Now, their wish was finally fulfilled, and the two girls had become their daughters-in-law. The day when they held their grandchildren was not far away. The long-prepared gifts were given to the two daughters-in-law. Although Lin Jun was very rich, this was also the old man's thought. The ceremony was complete, and Lin Jun turned to look at the crowd. I'm very happy that everyone could come to my wedding. I prepared a sumptuous banquet and all kinds of new things for everyone to enjoy. I want to accompany everyone. Next, I'm going to accompany my two wives and start our honeymoon. This is a world for the three of us, and I don't want to be disturbed. Everyone should understand, boss is awesome. We understand. We understand too much. It's a threesome. Yeah. Lin Jun smiled as he looked at the wailing crowd. He grabbed his two brides with both hands and teleported directly into the Eternity Crystal spaceship. The spaceship was decorated with flowers, and the best things that could be found were all here. The most eye-catching thing was a big and soft bed in the middle of the spaceship. This bed was enough for 10 people to roll around on, and all the surveillance equipment on the spaceship was turned off. Chapter 441. It had been 3 months since Overlord Lin Jun left Earth. During this time, Lin Jun brought Su Mingyue and Ning to many planets. Not only did they go to the Sun Ridge, but they also went to other places in the Sanjiang Federation. Lin Jun also did not cultivate much, which was rare. He focused on accompanying his two wives. Ning and Su Mingyue finally agreed to sleep with Lin Jun under his tireless efforts. This could be considered as fulfilling one of Lin Jun's wishes. With a large sum of money in hand, life could be enjoyed almost endlessly. And Ning and Su Mingyue's cultivation realm was also slowly improving. They began to move towards the meteor stage. Lin Jun's main body was enjoying life here, but it was not peaceful on Earth. One day, 3 months later, the galactic radar detected a foreign sublight speed spaceship approaching the solar system. Lin Zhan's clone was still on Earth at this time. After investigating, he found that the spaceship came from the Anderson family of the Sanjiang Federation. He immediately commanded the battle. When the spaceship was near Neptune, he quietly mobilized the Fortress satellite and railguns to give the sublight speed spaceship a heavy blow. Old Anderson did not expect the solar system to have a galactic defense system. He was ambushed by Lin Zhan. The spaceship was destroyed, and most of the people on board died. He and 2 other black hole stage experts, as well as a few level 9 stellar level experts, survived with injuries. However, they were then attacked by Lin Zhan. This battle was not easy. Although there were only a few people on the other side, 3 of them were at the black hole stage. They were very strong. After a tough battle, Lin Zhan's side suffered heavy losses. Even Lin Zhan's clone was injured. In the end, the key to deciding the direction of the battle was Zi Qinxia. Zi Qinxia successfully broke through to the nebulous stage during the battle. She finally killed Old Anderson to end the battle. Otherwise, who knew what the outcome would have been? After killing Old Anderson, it also represented the official destruction of the Anderson family. However, after Zi Qinxia killed Old Anderson, she also chose to leave. Now that she had successfully advanced to the nebula stage, she wanted to return to the Andromeda Nebula to seek revenge. Lin Zhan didn't ask them to stay and gave Zi Shisan and 17 their freedom, allowing them to return with Zi Qinxia. Lin Zhan, it's my fortune to be able to meet you. I think we'll meet again. I think so too. I hope you succeed in your revenge. Zi Qinxia gently threw herself into Lin Zhan's arms and hugged him. Then, she and her 2 guards boarded the sublight speed spaceship that Lin Zhan had prepared for them and left Earth. Lin Zhan told her about the wormhole on Mars, which would allow her to walk faster. After watching Zi Qinxia leave, Lin Zhan realized that his current strength was not enough to truly protect Earth. Encountering a stellar stage opponent was fine, but if a black hole stage opponent came, Lin Zhan definitely wouldn't be able to resist. Now, Lin Zhan wanted to increase his strength, and the biggest thing he could do was to strengthen his genes and bloodline. Maybe I should contact Han Sha and those 2 people. Early morning, Ice City Bay City, central square of Sky City. Groups of people were running in the square. Unlike the strolling and jogging style of the people in the Common Era, the people who came here to train were running very fast. An old man with a white beard ran wildly. His hair and beard were thrown behind him. His feet stepped on the ground of Sky City. His movements were like a leopard's. Whoosh, whoosh. The finish line in front of him was reached, and the old man slowly stopped, his chest rising and falling slightly. Haha, old Wong, you've lost today. You're the one with the worst results in the whole square. With your standard, how can you keep up with the pace of today's times? Old Wong was a little angry. So what? If it was in the Common Era, my 7 seconds for 100 meters would be enough to scare the world. Ha! You know that it was in the Common Era. Look at the time now. It's the era of spaceflight. Old Mrs. Lee next door ran 100 meters in 1 seconds. Your 7 seconds is really unreasonable. I know. I was a little injured when I went to the wilderness to kill mutant beasts 2 days ago. Otherwise, with old Mrs. Lee's speed, I'm still better than her. It's good that I recovered in 2 days. Hey, Mr. Lin, why are you leaving so early today? The uncles and aunties who were training gathered around and looked at Lin Lie, who was packing his things and was about to leave. As Lin Zhan's father, Lin Lie was also a knight, but he didn't have any heirs. He trained every day and did what he was supposed to do. When he first started training in Sky City, these people were very respectful to him, thinking that he was the emperor of Earth, the solar system, and even the Sun territory. But later, they found that Lin Lie was a very easygoing person, and gradually, they were not so afraid. However, because of his relationship with Lin Zhan, everyone still respectfully called him Mr. Lin. Oh, my son and daughter-in-law are coming back today. I have to hurry back and see them. Lin Lie answered the people around him. Is that so? Sir Lord is back? Sir Lord has been gone for a few months, right? This time, are you going to hold a grandson? I heard that you might be moving to Emerald Star. Is there such a thing? It shouldn't be. The Mars terraforming plan is not completed yet. Can Sir Lord leave? Linlia looked at the noisy crowd and smiled bitterly. Folks, I really don't know what you're talking about. The Mars terraforming plan is not under my control. You can ask the people in the office. As for moving, I don't know. But one thing you're right about is that I might really be holding a grandson. Is that so? Then I really have to congratulate you. Hey, congratulations, congratulations. Our son territory has a successor. Linlia laughed and turned to leave the crowd. He got on something that looked like a hover bike. This kind of transportation was very popular in all the major base cities. Riding the hover bike back home, he immediately heard the laughter in the house. When Li Qin saw Lin Lie come back, she complained, I told your son and daughter-in-law are back, but you still dilly-dallied at the square. I think your heart is a little wild. I'm not. You really... Sigh. And Ning is really pregnant? Yes, yes. They're all Star Realm. Their senses are very sensitive. As soon as they heard that you're pregnant, they immediately came back. Lin Lie entered the house, and Ning and Su Mingyue both came out to greet him. After a few words, Lin Lie immediately ran out to buy groceries and cook. He was going to nourish his pregnant daughter-in-law. As for what to eat, Li Qin had already arranged it. Lin Jun sat on the sofa at home and said to Ning, Are you a little tired? I'm fine. I just felt a little uncomfortable when I was crossing through the parallel universe. Maybe there's something extra in my stomach. And Ning's fair face was a little excited. Su Mingyue, on the other hand, touched her stomach from time to time. She was very curious about how a person could be born in there. Silly girl, why are you so curious? You'll be like this sooner or later. Sister Ning, is it a boy or a girl? It's not certain yet. We'll only know after a while. We all have the ability to see inside, so we can observe the baby's changes every day. I want a baby too. That's easy. Just ask Lin Jun to work harder. You have a thin waist, big breasts, and round buttocks. It'll definitely be easy to give birth. Sister Ning, lower your voice. Lin Jun quietly watched the interaction between his two wives. His heart was filled with warmth. However, this warm moment was about to come to an end because he had decided to leave. When it was time for dinner, Lin Jun told everyone that he would be leaving the Sun Ridge for the Sanjiang Federation. Li Qin said hesitantly, Aren't you going to wait for Ning to give birth before leaving? It'll only take 8 or 9 months. Lin Jun shook his head. It's not that I don't want to wait, but I can't wait. I can't afford to wait because I have you guys behind me. The atmosphere at the dining table suddenly became a little tense. In the end, Lin Lie waved his hand. Go. Remember to contact us in the dimensional universe when you have time. Don't go without news for too long. Don't worry. When I have time, I'll definitely contact you in the dimensional universe. After the meal, Lin Jun and Li Qin went to train while Lin Lie accompanied his two wives to talk. Lin Jun, will you be gone for a long time this time? And Ning asked, It definitely won't be a short time. I'm preparing to join the Galactic Beast Alliance. After joining, it's impossible for me to leave in a short time. I've already contacted Han Sha. He said that there will be a concentration camp in a year. It seems like it's going to the Fire Qilin Empire. Before I leave there, I won't be able to come back. Don't worry. We'll be fine at home. Remember to be careful. Lin Jun nodded in agreement, and Ning pushed him. Go. Accompany you air tonight. After that, and Ning got up and left the room, leaving the two of them alone. The lights went out, and the two of them lay on the bed. Su Mingyue put her hand on Lin Jun's chest. You must take care of yourself. Remember, we have a telepathic connection. If something happens to you, I'll definitely know. I understand this very well. You guys have to cultivate well at home. The two of them looked at each other, and their lips suddenly came close. After a passionate kiss, Su Mingyue's delicate body wrapped around Lin Jun's body. Lin Jun, you're biased. And Ning already has a baby, but I don't. I don't care. I want a baby too. Hee. Since you air is so brave, I'll have to work hard tonight. Hubby, love me. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. Chapter 442. Master, we are approaching 100 River Planet. Decelerate and leave the parallel universe. The Eternal Crystal spaceship decelerated slightly. After descending below the speed of light, it immediately left the parallel universe. A huge planet appeared. Lin Jun's spaceship gradually reached 10 times the speed of sound and was still descending slowly. I've arrived at 100 River Planet. A new challenge is coming. Lin Jun stood in front of the control panel, thinking about his future path. Hiss! The radio waves flashed, and someone on the control panel requested to contact him. Lin Jun was stunned. He had only come to 100 River Planet to buy some things and did not know anyone. If Han Sha and the others were looking for him, they should have done so through the dimensional universe. Why would they communicate through a spaceship? After connecting the other party's radio waves, a blond young man appeared on the screen. This was an Eternal Crystal spaceship. He was wearing a Silver Knight's outfit. His eyes were slender and slightly squinted. He was carefully sizing up Lin Jun. "Who are you?" Lin Jun asked. "Hey, you're not from 100 River Planet, right? I've never seen you before." "I'm not. I just arrived here." "All right then. Foreign kid, are you interested in racing?" "Racing?" Lin Jun did not understand what the other party meant. "Yes, racing. I see that your spaceship is not bad. You're going to the asteroid belt 300 kilometers away. Drive the spaceship below the speed of light. The first person to pass will win. Are you interested in gambling?" Lin Jun saw the other party's spaceship clearly. It was made of Eternal Crystal spaceship and was also traveling at the speed of light. This spaceship was slightly inferior to Lin Jun's because it had fewer Eternal Crystal spaceships. It only had a few key areas to protect it, but it could still travel at the speed of light. Lin Jun was not good at racing, nor did he like it. He directly rejected the offer. "Sorry, I'm not interested. You might not know, but traveling through the asteroid belt is very exciting. A sturdy spaceship is very important. If your spaceship is willing to sell, I can give you a suitable price." Lin Jun shook his head. "I'm not sure of money." After being repeatedly rejected, the golden-haired young man's expression turned ugly. "If you've heard of Tongtian Tower, I believe you wouldn't dare to reject me like this, outsider." Lin Jun froze for a moment. He had heard of the Tongtian Tower before. There was a saying on Earth, "Wherever there are people, there will be rivers and lakes." This saying was also applicable in the interstellar space. It was just that the rivers and lakes here were bigger and more dangerous. The so-called Tongtian Tower was actually a mafia organization of the Sanjiang Federation. On this huge planet with a population of trillions, there were many gangs. They did all kinds of business, such as interstellar transportation, slave trafficking, monopolizing business, assassinations, mercenaries, and even opened up many businesses in the dimensional universe. Actually, in the various primary universe countries, there were also many gangs. It was just that Lin Jun had never come into contact with them. However, the gangs of a primary universe country and a middle-level universe country couldn't be compared at all. Whether it was manpower, resources, or wealth, they were far from being on the same level. Lin Jun once heard in his previous life that the leader of a huge territory with a diameter of 50 light years had offended a gang called Dragon Totem, and the two sides had a conflict. As a result, Dragon Totem sent 10,000 Eternals and 100 black hole experts, under the leadership of a galaxy-level master, piloted a spaceship and directly destroyed the territory. Hundreds of billions of people were sold as slaves, and the resources in the territory were swept clean. A prosperous territory was submerged in the long river of time. As for the primary universe countries, they had no way to deal with the gangs of middle-level civilizations. They couldn't destroy the gangs, and the gangs were inextricably linked to the higher-ups of the Sanjiang Federation, so the gangs were simply rampant. Within the Sanjiang Federation, the biggest gangs were Tongtian Tower, Geocentric Jade Tower, Dragon Totem, and Blue One Association. These four gangs had a large number of members, and their members were all over the Sanjiang Federation. They even had people in the Sky River Empire. Lin Jun didn't expect to encounter a gang as soon as he arrived at 100 River Star. It's really annoying. However, Lin Jun won't be scared by a few words. He smiled at the blonde youth and said, "It turned out to be someone from Tongtian Tower. Sorry for the disrespect, but I still won't sell my spaceship." "So, you don't want to give face to Tongtian Tower. If you must say so, then so be it. Lin Jun directly hung up the communication. So what if it's a gang? You won't be trampled under anyone's feet in this life. Hundreds of kilometers away from Lin Jun's eternal crystal spaceship, on a crystal spaceship, the blonde youth had an ugly expression on his face. You don't know life from death. You refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Investigate for me. Find out the background of this foreign kid. Brother Jean, you're going to participate in the concentration camp for those under 100 years old. The leader said that your group should be more stable during this time. Dealing with an outsider won't affect anything. Investigate. Understood. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. The eternal crystal spaceship arrived above a street. Lin Jun put away the spaceship and landed on the street. This was a villa district, and each villa was sold for over 100 million yuan. Han Sha and Jerry lived here. Lin Jun followed the address that Han Sha gave him and came to the door. A scanner at the door was activated, and a red light flashed. With a beep, the door opened. Welcome, Mr. Lin Jun. The two sirs are waiting for you in the reception room. Lin Jun stepped through the door, walked through a garden path, and came to the reception room on the first floor of the villa. Hey, you're here, Lin Jun. Come and sit down. Han Sha greeted Lin Jun warmly. There was a huge round table here, surrounded by a circle of seats. Lin Jun nodded and found a seat before looking at the people in the reception room. Han Sha and Jerry weren't the only two people here. There were more than 10 people in the reception room. Other than Lin Jun, almost everyone here was at the Eternity stage. Only 2 of them were at the planet stage level 9. Lin Jun even saw Chao Yang from the Indigo Bay planet. Chao Yang also smiled and nodded at Lin Jun. The dispute from before was already over. Lin Jun was now a lord that he trusted. Han Sha clapped his hands and said, All right, now that everyone is here, let's let Mr. Jerry explain to everyone. Jerry cleared his throat. Everyone, since you're here, I believe everyone knows our purpose. That's right. We're here to participate in the concentration camp for those below 100 years old. The concentration camp for those below 100 years old is a major event in the Fire Qilin Empire. It's held once every 100 years to select the true geniuses and focus on nurturing them. Everyone here is a true genius selected by the Galactic Beast Alliance from the Sanjiang Federation. From the moment you enter this door, you're a member of the Galactic Beast Alliance. You'll represent the Galactic Beast Alliance and compete with the people of the Sanjiang Federation. At this time, a cold-looking young man spoke. Mr. Jerry, who else are we competing with? Lin Jun glanced at this person. This young man had fair skin and a thin golden line on his forehead that looked like a vertical eye. He was at the star level 9 and seemed very powerful. Holly, we're not the only force in the Sanjiang Federation. The Galactic Beast Alliance is not the only force. All the major forces will send people to participate in the competition. Not only will there be competition, but the competition will also be very intense. Holly snorted. It doesn't matter if it's intense. I'm just afraid that the opponents will be too weak. That would be really boring. Jerry said, according to the news, the selection of the Sanjiang Federation this time will be held in a world stone. Not only us, but forces like Sky Tower and Dragon Totem will also send people to participate. A few major families in the Federation, as well as the Federation's military and Azura field, will send a large number of experts. You can't be too careless. Holly didn't seem to take Jerry's words to heart. Instead, he looked around and scanned the people present. When his gaze landed on Lin Jun, he couldn't help but sneer. Mr. Jerry, you'd better worry about the others. Some of them are so weak. If they get eliminated in one blow, that would be a disgrace to the Galactic Beast Alliance. You don't have to worry about this. There are still 11 months before the selection battle of the Sanjiang Federation. During this time, we'll conduct a comprehensive test for all of you. How will we conduct the test? We'll test your bloodline and genes. We'll distribute the gene fluid according to the level of each person's bloodline and genes. Only then will we be able to see clearly how strong and weak you are. Han Sha stood up at this time and said to everyone, We'll now sign a contract with all of you. After you sign the contract, you'll be a member of the Galactic Beast Alliance forever. I'll read out the rules for all of you. 1. Obey the Alliance's orders and never betray them. 2. The Alliance will provide you with the gene fluid for free. 3. Members have to fulfill their obligations. Han Sha listed out a series of agreements. After signing this contract, these people would become members of the Galactic Beast Alliance. There weren't many obligations, but the benefits were great. Everyone read the contract carefully. This contract was very important. After signing it, it would be effective forever. They had to read it carefully. Lin Jun glanced at the contract and felt that it was not bad. He picked up the pen and wrote his name. All of this was recorded in the dimensional universe. It couldn't be faked, and no one would regret it. Holly, Chao Yang, and the others also signed the contract. Han Sha kept all the contracts for safekeeping. His attitude immediately became more cordial. Chapter 443. After Han Sha finished speaking, these people got up and left their seats to take a short break and communicate with the others. Chao Yang got up and walked to Lin Jun's side. He smiled and greeted him. Lord. Lin Jun also greeted Chao Yang. How is it? Do you feel confident during the test later? Haha, Lord, have you forgotten? I have already taken a gene serum before. However, I had not signed the contract at that time. I am here today to sign the contract. Yes, look at my memory. After a few words, the distance between the two of them was shortened. Since they were both from the Sun territory, they were naturally closer than the others. Lord, I was really narrow-minded in the past. I thought that I could look down on my peers after obtaining a higher rank of Azura King. However, after being defeated by you, I thought that you were the only one in the world who was stronger than me. However, after coming here, I realized how short-sighted I was. Oh, do you mean that there are people stronger than you here? More than that. Most of them are stronger than me. Chao Yang smiled bitterly. I just turned 99 years old this year. I just met the minimum requirement of the 100-year-old concentration camp. However, you have also seen the others. I am the oldest. Most of them are young people in their 70s or 80s. Lin Jun coughed violently. Young people in their 70s or 80s were not wrong for a warrior. Moreover, there are two people who are particularly powerful. One of them is Holly, who just spoke. He is from the three-eyed race. The three-eyed race can be said to be gifted. Their third eye is called the Divine Eye and has many magical powers. He is only 62 years old this year and has already cultivated to level 9 stellar level. He is considered a super genius. Lin Jun nodded. Reaching level 9 stellar level at 62 years old could definitely be described as a super genius. There is another person called Tai Shan. He's that big guy over there. He is from the Titan race. Lin Jun glanced over there and saw a level 9 stellar level man. He was about 3 meters tall and had a very strong body. His muscles were as if cast in steel. One look and one could tell that he had terrifying strength. Except for these two people who are stronger, the others are relatively weaker. However, I am sure that everyone here will be stronger than me after genetic modification. Lin Jun agreed with Chao Yang's words. All of the people in the room had extraordinary aptitudes. Chao Yang, who was able to face him head-on, had an inferior aptitude. This place was like a concentration camp for geniuses. Lin Jun pondered silently. His own weakness was still his cultivation level. Although he had the support of the Dark Star, and his Dantian had 10 times the astral power, his true level of astral power was only around the mid-stage planet realm. The gene fluid strengthened his physique. His realm was even more urgent than his physique, and he needed to improve it. Lin Jun immediately sensed a gaze sweeping over. He looked up and saw Holly looking at him with disdain. Lin Jun could see that this person looked down on him. However, Lin Jun didn't care. Verbal disputes were meaningless. Everything depended on the result. While he was pondering, it was time to rest. Han Sha and Jerry called everyone to the back hall of the villa. The two of them entered a small room. Then, the rest of the people entered one by one and started the test. First, Tarzan. The tall and burly Tarzan walked in and closed the door. Phew, I'm a little nervous. I wonder what kind of gene fluid I will get. I don't know either. I heard that it is divided into many grades. By the way, Chao Yang, you have taken a gene fluid before. You should know more about it. Chao Yang nodded. Yes, I know a little. Generally speaking, There are only 5 possibilities for geniuses like you. From low to high, you will get the Beast King Gene Fluid, low-level Galactic Beast, mid-level Galactic Beast, high-level Galactic Beast, and Super Galactic Beast. About half of the people will get the Beast King Gene Fluid. For example, I am one of them. The more talented you are, the better the gene fluid you will get. Someone else asked, if we take the gene fluid, won't we be stronger than the fighters of other organizations? We will have a big advantage in the World Stone. Chao Yang shook his head. Although we will have an advantage, it won't be too big. The Galactic Beast Alliance is able to gain a foothold in the universe countries because of our cooperation with them. We also have to provide them with some of our gene fluids. Take the Sanjiang Federation, for example. Aside from us, there are about 100 other people who will get the chance to strengthen their genes. So, in the World Stone, we will meet genetic warriors from other organizations. At this time, Holly said coldly, genofluids are sold on the black market. They're not that great. Unless your genes are particularly good, the genofluids are valuable. I joined the Galactic Beast Alliance not only because I'm confident that I can get a good genofluid, but also because I value the influence of this organization. After all, a lone warrior will not be able to achieve much in the universe. A fighter said, aside from strengthening your body, what else can the gene fluid do? Chao Yang explained, strengthening your body is the most basic, but if you get the genofluid of a galactic beast, you'll have a chance to learn the talent of the galactic beast. It'll be a life-saving skill. Really? Then what do you have, Chao Yang? Someone asked. Chao Yang gave a wry smile and said, I'm not strong enough. I only got the Beast King genofluid from the Ice Centipede, which gave me a multi-handed talent. But it's nothing compared to a galactic beast talent. The fighter said nervously, I should be able to get a mid-level galactic beast gene fluid. My talent should be good. Huh. Someone laughed and said, forget it. Do you know how hard it is to get a mid-level galactic beast gene fluid? Most of us here can only get the Beast King gene fluid. I think only Holly has a chance. No way. Tarzan should be able to get one, too. He is a titan. He is very good at fighting. What are you arguing about? We will see. The door opened, and Tarzan walked out. How was it? What kind of gene fluid did you get? Someone asked impatiently. Tarzan said, a low-level galactic beast, rock giant. Everyone's heart sank when they heard Tarzan's answer. If Tarzan could only get a low-level galactic beast gene fluid, then they could only get the Beast King gene fluid. Holly was the only one who did not change his expression. In his opinion, he was much better than Tarzan. Second by D. Han Sha called out, and the second person walked in. After a while, this person came out with a pale face. Everyone asked him, and he indeed got a Beast King gene fluid. The second person came out, and the third person went in. The result was the same, Beast King gene fluid. The 7th, the 8th, the 10th. Tarzan was the only one who got a galactic Beast King gene fluid. The 14th person was Holly. Holly went in for a longer time, and when he came out, he also did not look good. Holly, how are you? You're the best among us. You should have gotten a super galactic beast gene fluid, right? Get lost, Holly said coldly, and then sat down gloomily. He ignored everyone and did not say what kind of gene fluid he got. Seeing him like this, no one dared to ask. Last one, Lin Jun. Han Sha called out, and then rubbed his forehead. Jerry, the result this time is not very good. Holly is the only one who got a mid-level gene fluid, and Tarzan only got a low-level one. If this continues, we will not be able to compete in the World Stone. Yeah, there are a few people from other factions who got high-level genofluids. The mid-level ones are not that outstanding. I hope Lin Jun can give us a surprise. Lin Jun opened the door and walked in. Come, drip a drop of your blood into this container. Lin Jun sat in front of the two and pricked his finger with a needle. He dripped a drop of blood into a test tube. Han Sha placed the test tube on a machine, and the complicated machine immediately started to operate. Lin Jun stared at the device with anticipation in his heart. Lin Jun believed that his genes were the genes of the super galactic beast Fire Kirin. After all, he had fused with Xiao Wan's blood in the beginning, and his doppelganger was also Xiao Wan's body. But before the results came out, he was still uncertain. If it wasn't, it would be terrible. Han Sha thought Lin Jun was nervous, so he comforted him. Lin Jun, Jerry, and I have analyzed your situation. We think your talent is not weaker than Holly's. You might get a mid-level galactic beast gene, or even a high-level one. Lin Jun smiled. If he really did get a mid-level gene fluid, it would be too disappointing. Jerry thought Lin Jun was worried about not getting a mid-level geno fluid, so he continued to persuade him. Actually, the biggest benefit of the geno fluid is the talent. Some low-level galactic beast talents are even better than some mid-level talents. Lin Jun, I promise you will at least get a decent low-level geno fluid. Lin Jun smiled bitterly and looked at the machine. It's out, it's out. Beep, beep. The machine beeped, and Lin Jun's DNA analysis data was displayed on it. Blood concentration, excellent. Bone strength, excellent. Cell vitality, excellent. Elemental affinity, excellent. Recommended consumption of geno fluid, analyzing. The numbers flashed, but the results of the geno fluid did not appear. Chapter 444. Seeing the 3 words flashing on the screen, everyone in the room was dumbfounded. Even if it was a super galactic beast gene fluid, it shouldn't take this long to analyze it. Lin Jun looked at it for a while and suddenly had an idea. I have a doppelganger. Could it be that the gene analysis is missing because of the doppelganger? Hearing Lin Jun's words, Hansha couldn't help but slap his thigh. Yes, that must be the case. The doppelganger will definitely take away some genes from the main body. You have to bring your doppelganger here and test both of them together. Okay, then I will bring my doppelganger here. Lin Jun's doppelganger was not far away. With a thought, the doppelganger teleported here. When Lin Jun's doppelganger appeared in front of Hansha and Jerry, they couldn't help but exclaim. They didn't expect Lin Jun to have so many hidden cards at such a young age. This doppelganger's strength had reached the Xingzhou realm. Quick, let your doppelganger drip a drop of blood here. If both your main body and doppelganger are suitable, you might be able to get 2 portions of the gene fluid. Lin Jun's doppelganger took a step forward and dripped a drop of blood into the test tube. The machine immediately started analyzing the new gene. They waited patiently. After about 10 minutes, the results of the analysis finally came out. Doppelganger suitable for the doppelganger. Supergalactic beast fire Qilin gene fluid. Seeing this result, Hansha and Jerry were so excited that they jumped up. Yeah, ha ha ha. I knew Lin Jun wouldn't let us down. Supergalactic beast gene. It really is a supergalactic beast gene. Moreover, it's a fire Qilin. Oh my god, we found a treasure this time. This is too rare. How many times has someone with a fire Qilin gene fluid appeared in our fire Qilin empire? What do you mean by how many times? Only once in history did someone have the same genes as the empire's guardian beast. The 2 of them were overjoyed. Lin Jun wasn't surprised. His doppelganger was a fire Qilin. It would be strange if he didn't have this gene fluid. Now, he was looking at the genes of his main body to see if they were the same as the genes of his clone. Hansha and Jerry laughed for a while, and also realized that something was wrong. Why hadn't the main body come out yet? Under the gazes of the 3 of them, the main body's genetic attributes finally appeared. Body suitable for gene fluid, supergalactic beast fire Qilin. Hansha and Jerry heaved a sigh of relief when they saw the test results. Phew, I thought something had happened. It took so long to analyze the same gene fluid. It looks like this machine is getting old. It doesn't matter. This time, we've discovered Lin Jun. We'll definitely be heavily rewarded. We'll just buy new ones in the future. The 2 of them were still excited until the machine automatically delivered 2 bottles of geno fluid for Lin Jun's main body and doppelganger. Only then did they calm down. Lin Jun, you made a big profit this time. Do you know how much a bottle of fire Qilin's gene fluid costs? 100 billion. 100 billion Qilin coins. Plus, there's no market for it. If you take it out for auction, these 2 bottles could be sold for 300 billion. You got it for free. Tell me, isn't it the best thing for you to join our Galactic Beast Alliance? Lin Jun smiled and nodded. This is really delightful. I didn't expect my genes to be so good. Hansha then said to Jerry, I think we shouldn't announce Lin Jun's results for now. Let's just say that he got the gene fluid of the beginner galactic beast, Swanee. Don't attract too much attention. Otherwise, we'll be targeted. Yes, Lin Jun. Don't tell anyone the truth when you go out. Just say that you got Swanee's gene fluid. Okay. Lin Jun nodded seriously. Go. There are still 11 months before the World Stone. Take the gene fluid immediately and try to get the talent power. Then seize the time to cultivate. We're counting on you for the World Stone this time. Lin Jun left. After he went out, the people around him asked Lin Jun what kind of gene fluid he got. Lin Jun said it was Swanee's gene fluid. A martial artist didn't believe him. Then why did you stay in there for so long? It's been almost an hour. Lin Jun smiled. Because I was not satisfied with only getting the beginner galactic beast gene fluid. I wanted to try again, but I was rejected. I begged for a long time, but there was no result. After the martial artists heard this, they all turned around and left. Although Lin Jun got the beginner galactic beast gene fluid and was stronger than them, it wasn't something to be surprised about. Lin Jun walked out of the room that Han Sha and the others were in and came to the room that was specially prepared for her in this villa. Everyone had a room. During this time, they would stay here and listen to Han Sha's arrangements. After entering the room, Lin Jun couldn't wait to talk to Chris. What was that all about? Chris immediately said to Lin Jun, Master, the machine's AI just communicated with me. It said that your genes are very special. Their AI system automatically hid it and only showed it to the public as the Fire Kirin's genes. How could they hide it? Yes. This is the system's automatic command. Only very special genes are worth hiding. Even Han Sha and Jerry don't know about this. Even the Fire Kirin Empire's upper echelons don't have the right to look at it. Only the Galactic Beast Alliance's headquarters have the right to look at it. Lin Jun's face looked serious. Then what are my genes? Your body is called a black hole beast. They have automatically made the gene fluid. One of the 2 bottles contains it. After you consume it, your genes and blood will awaken. Black hole beast. Lin Jun was shocked. What did this name mean? Yes, black hole beast. This galactic beast should be a close relative of the Kirin. It has only appeared twice in the recorded history of the universe. It is the mutated form of the Kirin, also known as the energy-absorbing beast. It has the special ability to absorb energy. How do I absorb energy? Lin Jun asked. Absorbing energy means absorbing all objects that contain energy, such as certain metals, crystals, ores, and so on. The energy absorbed can be converted into astral power. What? It can be converted into astral power? Can I level up by absorbing these things? In theory, yes. Why do you say so? Because if you rely on this method to level up, the amount of things you need to absorb will be too much. The value will be too high. Normal people can't afford it at all. Hearing this, Lin Jun let out a long sigh. So it was just about spending money. If it was something else, he would have to worry about it. However, spending money was not a problem now. He had about 3 trillion galactic currency of the advanced civilizations. If this money was not enough to support his spending, then the energy required by the black hole beast could be described as a black hole. After knowing this, Lin Jun immediately had the motivation to move forward. Both his main body and his clone sat down and started to take the gene fluid. The 2 bottles of gene fluid looked similar, but one of them was from the black hole beast. Chris helped Lin Jun identify it. The first to take the gene fluid was Lin Jun's clone. He wanted to see the effect of the gene fluid first. Lin Jun's clone swallowed the gene fluid, and a warm current flowed into his stomach. Gradually, Lin Jun's clone started to change. It was as if a power from his soul had awakened in his body. Every cell in his body started to become stronger. His blood seemed to be gradually burning. Sitting on the bed, all the bones in his body kept making cracking sounds. Crack, 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 crack. Rip. Lin Jun's clothes were torn apart by his expanding bones. A layer of golden scales started to appear on the surface of his body. This feeling, I seem to be seeing a grown-up Xiaonuan. My body seems to be turning into a Qilin. At this moment, Lin Jun was like an alien. His clothes could no longer cover his body and were easily torn to pieces. On his back, the image of a fire Qilin started to appear. Hiss! Lin Jun's clone felt the pain. He couldn't help but raise his head and shout. However, he let out a loud, bestial roar. Fortunately, The room was big enough and had good soundproofing. Otherwise, the sound wouldn't have spread outside. Waves of warm current surged in his body. The changes in his body lasted for about half an hour before dissipating. His body finally returned to its original state. There wasn't much difference from before, but the difference inside was too big. My body feels so much stronger. This is the body of a real galactic beast. I believe that even if I were to stand in an elemental storm, my body wouldn't be damaged at all. Also, I feel the surge of astral power in my body. As long as my main body makes a breakthrough, my clone will also make a breakthrough. Lin Jun stood up slowly and walked to the front of the mirror. There wasn't a trace of energy on his body. A strong physique appeared in the mirror. I can feel that I already have two innate abilities. One is Shaon Wan's natural devouring ability. Lin Jun opened his mouth slightly and breathed in the mirror. A strong suction force loomed. If there was a person below the planet realm, they would definitely be swallowed by Lin Jun. In addition to this ability, I have another one. Armor transformation. Lin Jun's mind moved. A layer of golden scales immediately appeared on his body. Except for his face, his entire body was covered by the scales. Strings of yellow smoke came out of his nostrils. A strong smell of sulfur spread out. He stretched out his finger and gently flicked the scales. The sound of metal hitting metal rang out. What a strong body. The strength of my body has reached the level of a peak low-grade divine artifact. Ordinary middle-grade divine artifacts can't do much damage to me. My limbs and teeth have all reached the level of a peak middle-grade divine artifact. It can be said that my entire body is a weapon. It's really strong. A body like this can travel through space. Chapter 445. The doppelganger stood beside the main body, covered in golden scales like a demon beast, guarding the main body while he consumed the gene fluid. Picking up the small test tube, inside was a golden red liquid, emitting a thick fragrance containing a strong life force. What a treasure! If the fire cheilant's gene fluid is worth more than 100 billion, then this black hole beast gene fluid is definitely worth more than 1 trillion. No, to those who need it, this is a priceless treasure. Feeling that his condition was at its best, Lin Jun drank the gene fluid. After the experience of consuming the fire cheilant's gene fluid, Lin Jun was mentally prepared for the gene fluid modification, knowing that the modification process would be very painful. However, the pain still exceeded Lin Jun's expectations. The tearing pain was more than 10 times more painful than before. However, Lin Jun was not afraid of pain. After experiencing the pain of tearing his soul, there was no pain that could defeat him. The modification process lasted for nearly 2 hours. A layer of black scales appeared on Lin Jun's body, different from the fire cheilant's golden color. This was a deep black, like the endless space of the universe. This gene fluid has a strong life force. I'm going to break through. After the modification, the star power in his dantian boiled. Rising like a bubble, the meteor stage level 1 was about to break through. This type of gene fluid worth trillions of high-level universe country currency was indeed extraordinary, and Lin Jun's level was still low. Once he broke through, there was no stopping him. Starting from meteor stage level 1, this breakthrough was like a hot knife through butter. Lin Jun originally thought that it would be amazing if he could reach peak level 3 or level 4, but he still underestimated the power of this super gene fluid worth 1 trillion. The strong medicinal power supported him all the way to peak level 6 before stopping. What a strong medicinal power! It actually allowed me to level up 5 times, reaching peak mid-level meteor stage. As long as I stabilize and make another breakthrough, I'll reach late-stage meteor stage. Leveling up 5 times was a surprise, but it was not the biggest surprise. The biggest surprise was that he mastered the innate ability of the black hole beast. It was different from the fire cheilant's transformation. It did not have an innate ability to devour. This innate ability was upgraded with the black hole beast, called Black Hole Storm. Unlike Natural Devour, Black Hole Storm was a unique talent of the black hole beasts. It was either a variant or an upgraded version of Natural Devour. Create a black hole in the void. devouring and shattering everything within sight, including light, dust, and air. However, that was when Black Hole Storm was cultivated to its peak. At present, Lin Jun had only just mastered Black Hole Storm. If he wanted Black Hole Storm to reach that level, he first had to master light speed. At first, Lin Jun's movement speed could reach 20 times the speed of sound. Anything moving below this speed would not be able to escape the Black Hole Storm's devouring. Lin Jun familiarized himself with the new ability of this body. Using his spiritual power, Lin Jun felt that his muscles were extremely dense. Although he looked skinny now, after the transformation, his weight had definitely exceeded 250 kilograms. Scanning his dantian with his mental power, Lin Jun could feel that his dark star space had completely stabilized and was showing signs of evolving into the Phanerozoic universe. Lin Jun saw the clone standing in front of him again. His main body had advanced to level 6 meteor, and his clone had also advanced to level 6 planet warrior. His realm was not considered too low. Lin Jun suddenly had a thought. Could his clone cultivate in his dark star space? With this thought, Lin Jun's clone entered the dark star space. It really works. Lin Jun was overjoyed. His clone could not always wander around in other places. Now that it had followed him into the dark star space, it was much more convenient. Phew, I've finally succeeded. Joining the Galactic Beast Alliance is the best move I've made. In the interstellar, strength will always be king. He exhaled a breath from his nostrils, and a stream of electricity condensed into a line and shot out. He stood up and took out the yin-yang spear from his spatial ring. Holding the thick and ferocious spear in his hand, Lin Jun looked at the black-armored monster in the mirror. Its body was covered in scales that were harder than metal, and there were even 2 black horns on its head. Lin Jun smiled bitterly. This image was his combat form, and it was not very beautiful. Normally, I won't use this combat form. After the genofluids improvement, my body is much stronger than before. My combat power has increased significantly. Unless it's a critical moment, it's best not to use this combat form. The clone came out of the dark star space. Its body was covered in golden scales, which was the clone's combat form. After admiring it for a while, the clone entered the dark star space again. I'm a little hungry. Lin Jun withdrew his combat form and felt that his stomach was rumbling with hunger. The black hole beast genes not only require a lot of food, but I also need to devour a lot of energy-containing metals. Chris has already listed the metals that I should devour. However, I have just advanced and need to stabilize my realm. During this period of time, I will first collect things like metals and crystals. Lin Jun was about to go out to eat and buy some food when suddenly, someone in the dimensional universe added him. Master, dimensional universe number 879231544544547 has added you as a friend. He is a member of the Galactic Beast Alliance. Do you accept? Yes. Lin Jun remembered that this person seemed to have a good relationship with Holly. Why did he add him? After successfully adding him as a friend, Baidi immediately asked a question. Lin Jun, have you comprehended any talents? Half armor. Lin Jun's armor form, which only revealed his eyes, was actually full armor, but he did not intend to tell the truth. Half armor was not a great talent, and it had a limited effect on the body. It was already not bad if it could reach the level of a high-grade sacred weapon. Among these people, only Lin Jun, Holly, and Tarzan had obtained the Galactic Beast talent. Naturally, they would be envied by these geniuses. Upon hearing that Lin Jun had only obtained a half-armor talent, Baidi felt a little better. A low-grade Galactic Beast gene might not be as useful as a good Beast King's gene if one's talent was not practical. Hearing that Lin Jun's talent was not good, Baidi's voice seemed to get louder. Lin Jun, we have discussed that we should unite. Only then will we have a chance to compete in the World Stone. Do you have any objections? Lin Jun smiled. This is a good thing. I have no objections. Okay, then join my group. It will be easier to communicate in the future. Ding. Master, your friend Baidi has created a group and invited you to join. Lin Jun wanted to go out and get some food, but seeing Baidi's group, he could only click to join. After entering, he found that everyone from the Galactic Beast Alliance was in the group. After Lin Jun entered, Bai Di immediately said, "Good news for everyone. Our little brother Lin Jun has also obtained a half armor talent. Everyone, give him your blessings." The people in the group chuckled and said a few meaningless words. Their congratulations were insincere. Only Tai Shan sent a message. "Lin Jun, it's okay if your talent is not good. A Galactic Beast gene is much stronger than a Beast King gene. Combat power is the foundation." "Thank you," Lin Jun replied. Chaoyang also comforted Lin Jun. Other than them, everyone else was just being perfunctory. Bai Di said in the group, "Now that everyone is here, should we go out and drink to celebrate? I suggest we go Dutch. Let's go to the Wine Village." The Wine Village was a high-end hotel in the extra-dimensional universe. The cost was not low, especially since these martial artists could eat and drink. The cost of a meal was not low. Going Dutch was not bad. Lin Jun did not have any objections. Since he had joined the Galactic Beast Alliance, he would have to interact with these people in the future. It was good to communicate more. "Okay, let's go Dutch. Everyone should take a few 100,000 each. I think that's fine. 200,000 per person should be enough." At this time, Holly opened his mouth and said, "There's nothing special about the Wine Fragrance Village. I know that there's a bar called the Fairy Forest on the Saint Demon Planet. The wine there is good. The customers there are beautiful fairies and fairies. Let's go there." Hearing Holly's words, many people were speechless. The Saint Demon Star was a planet 20 light years away from the 100 River Star. Its cultivation civilization was also very high. There were angels, demons, fae, elves, humans, beastmen, dwarves, dragons, and many other races. It could be said to be a place where fish and dragons mixed together. The Fairy Forest was the most luxurious bar. It was set up in the Fairy Forest. The bar was very unique. It was famous in the Sanjiang Federation. But the distance of 20 light years still stopped many people. People went to the Saint Devil Planet through the extra-dimensional universe to see the pure fairies and fairies. However, the Fey Spirit Forest was also known for its high consumption. It was not uncommon for a single meal to cost hundreds of millions. For a group of 10 or so martial artists like them, they would need at least tens of millions of Three River coins. Furthermore, they would not be able to eat and drink to their heart's content. Even if they spent 10 million and split the bill, it would still be 1 million each. Although this was not a lot, many people were still reluctant. After all, this was 3 river dollars. 1 million was equivalent to 1 billion in elementary universe country currency. It was indeed extravagant to spend on a meal. "Let's go there. It's so expensive there." "Yeah, I heard that there are always gangsters fighting there." Just as the atmosphere was about to turn awkward, Holly said lazily, "Everyone, don't think too much. I don't care about gangs or not. It's fate that brought us together. I'll treat you guys to this meal." Hearing that they did not need to spend money, some people cheered. Bai Di tried even harder to convince Holly. "Big brother Holly, you are a real tycoon. You have both money and power. You are the only one here who managed to get a mid-level galactic beast gene, and you have a great talent. I think everyone will follow you." Immediately, a few people agreed. Although they were not too obvious, their attitude was obvious. Chapter 446. After the group decided, Holly went to book a room and then said in the group, "Everyone come over. Remember, it's the Fairy Forest Bar on the Saint Devil Planet." Everyone was teleported to the Saint Devil Planet with the help of their artificial intelligence. A white light flashed in front of Lin Jun's eyes, and he was already in front of the bar. Lin Jun felt relaxed and happy when he arrived here. There were towering trees around, and they were lush. Unlike the forests on Earth, this place was filled with a strong elemental aura. In front of them, a huge tree formed a natural tree house. There was a green spiral staircase under the tree that led to the top, and the tree was brightly lit. "Welcome, gentlemen. Do you want to try the pear blossom wine brewed by Xiao Shui? Hey, handsome guys over here, do you dare to bet a few rounds? Whoever loses will have to take off a piece of clothing." One by one, seductive fairies with hot figures and enchanting faces poked their heads out from the gaps of the leaves and waved at Lin Jun's group. Every fairy's face was extremely seductive. Some had snow-white foxtails behind them, while others had cattails. Their clothes were revealing, and their charming eyes were constantly seducing the souls of men. Their fair arms and legs were glistening, and these people were dazzled. Oh my God, they are really fairies. Look at that. That one is a foxtail. That one is simply a sexy little wildcat. Ah, she's smiling at me. I'm going to faint. This is really going to kill me. If any of these fairies were to go to our hometown, they would be able to overthrow the dynasty. If the country bumpkins in our hometown who are still in the era of cold weapons saw them, they would probably vomit blood and die. Although Lin Zhen's group was quite strong, these fairies were also very strong. Every one of them was at least to the star realm, and they also knew how to charm people. Every frown and smile was flirtatious. It was not easy to resist their charm. Beside Lin Zhen, Chao Yang's mouth was wide open. Only Tai Shan, who had a different aesthetic view from the others, was still normal. Even Holly revealed a strong desire at this moment. However, his self-control was much better than the others, and he quickly retracted his gaze. Wipe off your saliva. Remember that we are now representing the Galactic Beast Alliance. Don't embarrass our alliance. Only then did everyone calm down and follow Holly to the entrance of the bar. The words Fairy Forest were shining brightly in the dark forest. When Lin Zhen's group walked in, the words suddenly exploded. The group of people was shocked. Upon closer inspection, they realized that the glowing words were actually formed by fireflies. The fireflies danced in the air and quickly formed the words "Welcome." This magical scene made Lin Zhen click his tongue in wonder. This bar was really unique. There was a reason why it was expensive. After entering, a little fairy with an extremely pure face, like a dream lover, gently bowed to Holly. "Young Master Holly, you haven't come to see Shui in a long time." Holly smiled and said, "I'm busy. I'll have a good taste of Shui-er's new Hong later." Hee hee. Then please go upstairs. The room you booked has already been arranged. Drink a few more cups later. Holly turned around gracefully and took the lead to walk to the second floor with great style. Lin Zhen and the rest followed behind Holly. They looked left and right and felt that their eyes were not enough to take in everything that they saw. When they reached the second floor, they looked down. In the hall on the first floor, beautiful fairies were wearing maid outfits, revealing their snow-white legs and shoulders. They were like butterflies shuttling around the hall, continuously serving wine and food to the guests. On the big tree stump stage in the center, a group of fairies were performing. The fairies were good at singing and dancing, and they were naturally beautiful. Their beautiful dancing and singing were like a paradise. It was too much for the eyes to take in. Bai Di could not help but ask, "Boss Holly, why don't we go to the first floor?" Holly looked at him and said, "The people on the first floor are all country bumpkins. It doesn't suit my status." Bai Di immediately smiled and did not say anything else. Although the second floor was a single room, every single room was separated by a tree wall filled with fresh flowers. They could all see each other. It was an open space. Holly brought Lin Zhen and the rest to a single room on the second floor. There was a box of cigarettes on the table. Holly picked one up and said, "You guys should try it. This is the fragrance of fairy flowers. The smoke it produces has no side effects. One cigarette is worth 53,000 river coins. It's not something that just anyone can get." As he spoke, he put the cigarette in his mouth. Out of nowhere, a Barbie doll-like elf flew out. She was about the size of a palm and had a pair of transparent dragonfly-like wings. She flew in front of Holly and gently raised her hand. A ball of flame danced in her palm. "Young Master Holly, please." The little elf's smile was like a flower, and Holly's face showed a proud expression. He lit the cigarette and took a deep breath. Then, he grabbed a petal on the table and gently put it in the little elf's arms. "Good girl, this is for you." "Thank you, young master." The fairy flew to Holly's shoulder and sat down. She then lowered her head and kissed his face. She then giggled and flew away. A martial artist did not understand and asked, "Boss Holly, what do you mean by giving that fairy a flower petal? Also, why is she so small?" "Hee hee. She's small because she's a fairy among fairies. She can freely change her size. If you're willing to give her a table full of flower petals, I believe she'll be willing to change into an adult and spend the night with you. Really? Then I want to try. The martial artist was almost drooling. He reached out to grab the flower petals on the table. Holly then coldly snorted. But I advise you to think carefully. There are 1,000 flower petals on the table. Each one is worth 100,000. Added together, it's 100 million and 300 million river coins. Although we're friends, I don't think your current performance is worth me spending 100 million on you to pick up girls. The martial artist immediately shriveled up, not daring to touch the flower petals again. Holly blew out a smoke ring. I don't lack money, but I hope you guys can restrain yourselves. Don't go overboard. If there's anyone who really pleases me, I'll arrange a ferry to spend the night with you. A few martial artists looked up hopefully. Holly pushed the cigarette aside. Go ahead and smoke. If you want to reward a maid, just give her some flower petals. As long as it's not too much, I won't care. I said I'd treat you guys to a meal to broaden your horizons. I won't go back on my words. Most of the martial artists picked up their cigarettes. The little fairy flew over and lit them up one by one. Everyone took a puff with a look of enjoyment. Lin Jun also followed the crowd and took one. His performance was no different from the others. Holly sneaked a glance at Lin Jun, contempt in his eyes. All right, let's order. Everyone, order one. Don't worry about the price. A menu appeared in front of everyone. There were all sorts of dishes on it, and the prices were all so high that it made people speechless. Chow Yong ordered a braised bear's paw, which was worth about 300,000. The others also ordered many dishes, but they were not too expensive. After all, it was Holly's treat. They did not dare to order too much. When it was Lin Jun's turn, he glanced at the menu. He felt that every dish was not enough. He was really hungry. Flipping to the last page, Lin Jun's eyes lit up. I'll have this. The beautiful fairy waitress beside him immediately smiled. Sir, you have good taste. This roasted mammoth is our restaurant specialty. Normal customers are not as generous as you are. Lin Jun smiled. It's fine. Today a noble is treating. To serve the dishes. Everyone's gaze landed on the last page, and they instantly sucked in a breath of cold air. Roasted mammoth. Price, 8,888 million 3 Jiang dollars. Some of the martial artists sucked in a breath of air. This price had truly shocked them. One dish was worth over 100 million 3 Jiang dollars. This person really dared to charge. Although it was Holly's treat, this Lin Jun was too ruthless. When they looked at Holly again, they felt that his eyelids were twitching uncontrollably. He looked at Lin Jun with a trace of killing intent. Holly's original plan was to come here and act pretentious. In reality, he had only spent a few million. He had purposely revealed his identity to make others fear him. This way, he would not be able to go all out when ordering dishes. In the end, he did not spend much money. 10 or 20 million was enough. However, he never expected that this Lin Jun would be so ruthless. He had directly ordered the restaurant's signature dish, roasted mammoth. This dish cost close to 90 million. It seemed that today's expenses would definitely exceed 100 million. Although Holly was rich, he was not rich enough to treat 100 million 3 Jiang dollars as nothing. Lin Jun, you have a good appetite. Holly's teeth were cold. It's all right. The main thing is that young Master Holly is treating. Otherwise, I wouldn't dare to order this. Why? Young Master Holly won't feel bad about this small amount of money, right? Hearing Lin Jun's words, everyone's gaze landed on Holly's face, causing him to lose his cool. Ha ha ha. What are you saying? If you don't even dare to order dishes, why did you come to Fairy Forest? Go all out. Lin Jun flattered Holly, causing him to suffer unspeakably. For the sake of his face, Holly could not act out in front of everyone. He had a fake smile on his face as he thought about how to deal with Lin Jun. His ultimate goal for treating today was to become the leader of these people. When he entered the World Stone, he would make these people listen to his commands. Hence, today was very important. I definitely cannot let Lin Jun mess up today's matters. I have to make sure that I have a lot of face today. Only then will I be able to intimidate these geniuses.